It's a celebration of grassroots football this afternoon. The SANFL with no AFL action, and Glenelg and Central is the only match in town, and it's a great setting at the Bay Oval with lots of barbecues, lots of people through the gates, lots of kids enjoying South Australian football. Hello everyone and welcome. It should be a great match this afternoon. Nick Chick-Widden, the former Tiger champion, with me, and certainly the Tigers aiming for a victory this afternoon, crucial to their hopes. Well, it's crucial for both teams, I think, trying to cement their spot in that top five, and a win today certainly goes a long way in doing that for either team. And we mentioned grassroots footy, and Sodas is on the boundary with a special guest.
I certainly have. One of the legends of the Bay, Peter Max Maynard, is joining us. Max, welcome back to Glenelg, and there's a few familiar faces around the place today.
It has been fantastic this weekend. I don't know, it's just planning or coincidence, but Kerners is back doing a promotion. Simo, a few local past players, Simo, Dooth, Chris Urko, Michael Farquhar, all around for the weekend, so it should be a good day.
And just rekindling some of those stories from the glory days in 85 and 86.
I know, but hopefully the club can start to build a bit more of success to talk about, rather than sort of referring to 85 and 86. Whilst they were fantastic, it'd be good to have some success now.
Now, Crows supporters will remember you as the runner for the 98 Premiership, but you've since gone back to Melbourne. Have you had your finger in any football pies over there?
I helped Carlton out. Kerners got me down there to do the running there from 2000 to 2003, but then, like most of us with kids and their sport, I had to run them around all weekend, so I had to give that away. But yeah, did the 3 or 4 years at Carlton.
Oh, that's good work. Now, the Bays of today, coming back in the side, Brett Backwell after a calf injury, and Brad Sugars, the Crows rookie, will make his debut. Max, it looks like it could be a bit of finals action for the first time since '99.
It sure beats the hell out of bloody losing. It has been a slim couple of years a few years for the club, but certainly the job Mark Micken and Cavo and Stevie Rowan, they're doing a fantastic job. And the only sad part, though, is for every good kid you bring in, you tend to lose them in the draft, so you've got to start again.
We certainly do, and Glenelg will lose some big guns in the draft this year, Bryce Gibbs and James Seller. But so far this season, they've made a good start, 5 wins, 5 losses.
As it suggests, you're right in the balance. We've got to be at our best every week and have, 15 to 20 really good performances from every player, week in, week out. And we're workmanlike. If we get a workmanlike performance, I feel confident that we can compete very well against every opposition.
Well, they have competed very well this season, there's no doubt about that.
They certainly have. They've every game they've been in the money there. A pretty strong lineup again today. Backwell coming in is great. They lose Fisher, so it's 1 for 1 really, who's been a key component of the team this year. But a pretty even team across the field there.
So there's no doubt about the evenness of Centrals, and they were in good form last week against Port.
Yeah, they certainly were. They did beat Port comfortably, but the Magpies accounted for Central's big men up forward very well. Now that left James Gowans and also Matty Slade to kick the goals. They got 9 of the 17 for Central. And today Elijah Ware comes back in the side to join them up forward. He made his debut in the AFL last week for Port Power, and he slotted a nice goal. Did a good job, but Port Adelaide have been given special permission from the AFL to include Ware in the Bulldogs side today.
And I'm certain the Centrals will be very happy about that.
Yeah, Glenelg probably not so, but the small men kicked the goals last week, but I still think Centrals can stretch Glenelg a bit with their height and their forward line with Westhoff, Shell and Cohen today, so that'll be an interesting contest up there.
And we've already mentioned Stephen Kernahan, and he had the honour of tossing the coin this afternoon with Ben Mules from Glenelg, Paul Thomas from Centrals, and Mules winning it. So Kerners has done the right thing by his club in helping to win that toss. And just look through those head-to-heads over time. Of course, the Bays were very dominant early, but more recently, it's been Centrals with winning 14 of their past 16 against the Tigers.
Yeah, that's a pretty significant stat there, but Glenelg have won 2 of the last 3 and done it pretty well in those 2 games, but I'm sure Centrals will be trying to get a repay for that earlier in the year contest that happened this year.
And we're just about set for the first bounce. Here's Michael Maney.
Looking forward to this game, Neil. Will be a beauty, you would think. Ground in good condition. Just a little bit sticky in the middle there. I don't think it'll cause the players too much problem. Umpires Day, Cowell and Ralston. So some good experience in the umpiring ranks for this game in SANFL footy round 12. Centrals up against Glenelg, a centre square infringement. It will go the way of the Bulldogs, and the big man Paul Schooler. He's a man mountain, Paul Schooler, about 6'9" of him. Gets it to James Gowans. Gowans to half forward on a long lead. Shell just grabs it and tries to get it to Thomas, and the ball is forced out of bounds. some really key matchup. Notice McConnell playing on Swatala, Nick Chigwidden, who'll get shelled. I suppose Sherwood will be the man.
Sherwood's going to go. He's with him at the moment, and that's the one you would have imagined is going to pick him up. So he's got a big job all day, Sherwood.
Shelled down a little bit last week, but did persist to become a productive forward for the Bulldogs in their outstanding win of last week. Play going nowhere on the half-forward line. Bulldogs in attack. Cranston in the ruck. Shark by Slade, who got it to Chris Gowans. Mills takes him to ground, the skipper of Glenelg, number 34. Allen's in there with his hand in the air. And once again, the Gowans boys just love to check things out with the men in white. Crowd building at the Bay Oval. Westhoff, that's Lee Westhoff, just punches it to the line. Mark Soderstrom.
Well, weather today, it should be around about 16 degrees. It's cool and cloudy. There's no breeze to speak of. Now, I've still got Maxie Maynard down here. Max, before I let you go, Nick Chigwidden just told us before about a little story, a little incident just around this area here with Graham Corns when you're out in the ground. Apparently, he's clocked you on the back of the head with a ball. What happened there?
It was against Central Districts, can you believe, on a day like this, and I do remember it. Yes, just standing there with my back to the thing, and all of a sudden the ball hit me on the back of the leg. From about 20 metres from the coach's bench, turned around to see Cornsy standing there, and him the obvious culprit. But as to why he did it, I'll leave that up to him. You can ask him about that. All I know is that the club, the media tried to pick it up the following morning, but Cornsy came in and says, can we keep this one in-house? So we will.
All right, we'll keep it quiet. Mate, enjoy the day and welcome back to Glenelg.
Fantastic. Thanks very much.
And the Bays are building from their back half through Moore, trying to draw a player and give it to Hinge eventually. Hinge is in trouble. Two blind turns, taken high surely. Umpire call play on. The Gowans boys share it now. Slade and now Thomas off his left foot, which as you can see is his non-preferred. Out of bounds on the full. And it'll be Mitchell to take the free kick, possibly. No. He's got to give it over. So the Bays will work it from the back pocket again. Mules, captain won the toss, kicking to the right of screen, the Bays. Mules goes in short, that was dangerous, Logan couldn't take it. James Gowans to Chris, he missed him. Finally the Bays clear their defensive area, out to centre wing. Running there, Horan couldn't pick it up, Wilson could, dropped it. Horan now comes again, soccer off the ground, Wilson will probably take it to the boundary. He can't even take control. Now off to Hyde. He breaks the tackle. Horan comes and meets him. Willits couldn't slip the hand pass. Finally, the Bays will get it inside their forward 50. And Kirk couldn't take it, but Backwell, a smaller player, did. Well, that was a bit of a surprise. It looked for all the world like Kirk had that ball covered.
Well, it did. Backwell slotted in there beautifully, read it well. Kirk started up forward, so they've gone a bit taller up forward with Kirk and Rogers there, but Backwell's the man to take the mark and line up for a goal. So
Kirk, or rather from 20 metres out, will be Backwell, lays back in those wonderful green boots and kicks a goal.
You certainly want to be able to play wearing boots like those, don't you, Neil? But that's a great start. Bays this year have started each game very well. They've led at quarter time of each game this year. Smith getting it in there, just getting it in quick to the front of the square, which is good. Kirk certainly looked like the man that was in the right position to take it, but Backwell read it beautifully and finished off with a goal.
Good effort by Brett Backwell. And the Bays, amazingly, have won every first quarter this year. They've won 5, lost 5, but they've won every first quarter. So they're off to a good start. They've got the first one of this match. Ruckman nullify each other, really. Ware in there, as Mark Soderstrom said earlier. Granted permission by Port Adelaide Power to be able to play in the afternoon fixture here at the Bay Oval.
Trevor Cranston's got a big job there in ruck. School of, you know, a bit taller than him and been dominating in ruck as well.
Chris Gowans slipped it to Swatala, who got a nudge from Cranston, you'd have to say. And Swatala from 55, I don't think he'll get the distance. Slade is hovering. He decides to go long into the pocket and flying and taking a lovely mark was that man we were speaking about just a moment ago. I think it's Elijah Ware who's taken the mark, and he'll go back and look at the Dogs first.
Yeah, very strong mark there under extreme pressure. So Obviously, Elijah wanted to come back and get plenty of the footy. The pair would like to see him get a lot of it today, and good opportunity here for him early in the game.
Good debut last week, just on and off the bench for Port Adelaide and kicked a goal. So he knows how to kick a sausage roll, that's for sure. As he popped this one through, I think he has. Good kick by Elijah Ware. He doesn't miss too many, Elijah Ware. He's booted his 12th for the season, and the Dogs get the answering goal at the 5.5-minute mark of this term. Yeah, very good, smooth skills there, which you'd expect. But you see the mark here, positioned himself well, and I think it was Benny Moore there trying to spoil, but just not quite strong enough or tall enough.
Starting on the bench for Glenelg, plenty of youth. There's Lucas Block, Lee Saunders in just his second game since crossing from South Adelaide, and also debutant Brad Sugars from Sacred Heart.
So scores level, and Centrals go slightly forward of centre before we get the secondary bounce, or will we? Still trapped in there. Cranston got a hand pass out. Now off the ground from Thomas. Maybe he should do that all the time in his left foot. He got much more penetration and direction than last time. And ducking the head Mules, caught, play on, called the umpire. Bays fans not happy about it. O'Sullivan dishes it out. Now Swatala from 20 shouldn't make any mistake at all, and he doesn't. Second of the afternoon for Centrals. And you wonder, do you question whether Mules should have got a free kick back there on the edge of the 50?
Well, it did look like that he ducked his head there. There's no doubt about that. And a couple of little mistakes by Benny Mules. Came inside earlier in the quarter and then probably came in there. Has turned into trouble more than turning out of it. So, and it certainly hurt us with Swatala getting the goal.
Adam Swatala, terrific player for them over the years. Just his 5th goal. Ball back in the middle. Scrimmage taken by Ruwalt. Ball just hacked out of there by Cranston. Richard Cockburn, who's been so good for him at the back, spotted Ware in a bit of space. Now he can run and carry the football. Ware kicks to the Cowan lead. Well, he made a lot of leads last week, Luke Cowan, couldn't hold on to them. He started off pretty well. Cowan to half forward, scrubby old kick. No one can take clean possession. Knocked by Mules, good play. Moore's got to get around a couple of Dogs. And did the umpire say he dropped it? No, just play on hands and knees. Logan just got the handball away to Sherwood. Sherwood spots Backwell at half back. Backwell's got to go down the line. Decides to chip it in short to Mitchell. Mitchell a long, long way from goal. We know he can kick long, but he can't kick that long for a goal. That's a lovely kick. And Rogers, who's booted 28 this year for the Bays, right on the edge of his distance, you would think. Saw him warming up earlier. I think he'll maybe get to goal square or maybe in short.
Mitchell's not a bad option moving forward there, Brian, because he can kick the distance.
Yeah, well, Wilson zoning off him too, which is strange because you'd have to man him up inside 50, David Mitchell, and Wilson's still not bothering about him. Mitchell's still calling for it, but Rogers has got it right on 50. He'll take a good hoof from here. It's a long kick. Will it carry the pack? Schooler, the man, comes through and knocks it through from behind.
No, you called it right, Michael, early. He was certainly going to be right on his limit there, and that showed just falling short.
As is the way these days, the ball brought in very, very quickly. It's down to Charlotte's centre wing before you can blink. He gets it on. Chris Gowan's close to the boundary line, just content to take it over the line under a little bit of pressure from Mules. So 5 points, Central's leading. We're led. Cranston had the better of it. Backwell dived in. Umpire lets it go. Get another ball up.
Thanks, boys. Footballers. Straight up.
Cranston again. He's got a good leap. Backwell, I think it was, tapped it out. Mitchell just went down the line. Schooler read it best. Thomas. Sivanala. Now Curry running. Wanted his right foot, ducked back inside. Mongrel punt down to half forward. At the back and control for the Tigers. Down to half forward. Rogers lets it go. Logan's a left footer, so he'll want to go inboard. That's where he goes. Goes long for the goal square and coming over the top. Schooler, a nice mark, and he'll have runners on the far side of the ground, you'd think, as well as this side. Swatala's loose. Can work it down the line to McKenzie. will have to stretch. Good stretch by big Jason McKenzie to take the mark low down.
McKenzie, right in front of the interchange bench, kicks to the Cowan lead, can't mark that one. Willits had him covered. Good work. I think it might have been Allen who got the kick away. Taken by Wilson. In fact, it was Ruwald who got it. Wilson got it to Thomas. His kick will be chopped off. He goes back hard. Physical for the football. Well done by Lee Westhoff to Slade. So not going anywhere at the moment, the Dogs. Good pressure by the Bays. McKenzie's kick, and miraculous mark by Swatala. 45 out from goal. He's kicked one. He's darting. His eyes are darting. He wants to give it off, Jiggy.
McConnell, if he's still on him, which it seems to be at this stage, was probably 40 metres away from him, and he needs to tighten up on him. He's certainly backing himself at the minute, McConnell, but Central's have got the footy, so needs to tighten up on Swatala.
Lovely mark by Swatala, as we saw on replay. He's kicked one. Good-looking kick. He's got to draw it round. That's the perfect kick from there. It just had a nice little tail on at the end. You kicked a lot of goals here, Chiggy, at the Bay Oval.
Not from that far out. But no, it was a lovely leg, as you said, just allowed the slight breeze to sort of push it a bit. Central just holding the footy till they found an option, got it in quick. As I said, Swatala there on his own. McConnell needs to get a bit tighter on him and finished off with a lovely leg. Just popped it up beautifully and let the little breeze do the rest.
So not a bad start from Centrals. 11 points the margin. Schooler in the middle, and it fell to Cranston. We'll get another ball up. So does the Central's bench. No changes yet?
No, there isn't. Luke McCabe, fresh from his reprimand after that bump on Butcher last week for Port Adelaide. Andrew Hayes, who made his debut last week, and also Justin Westhoff.
McConnell works it wide to Moore, who drew a player back to McConnell. Inside half forward, he goes with the kick. Nice delivery. Running out there and taking the mark, Rory Kirkby. So Kirkby looks up, doesn't trust his distance. He'll have to kick it 50 plus. Opts for the short one, and Mitchell, he'll carry the distance. In fact, he would have carried the distance from where Kirkby was in the first place. But Kirkby doing what wasn't done by Rogers.
Absolutely,
on this side of the ground.
Smart football there. He knew he was going to be right on his limit and probably not going to fall short, whereas Mitchell's going to get the distance, and it was a pretty easy, safe kick.
So Mitchell kicked 46 goals last season for the Bays. He said shouldn't be a problem with distance. Times the ball well, and there you go. It was a problem with distance. He didn't quite make it. Kirk hand passed over the line in the end for the rush behind by Centrals.
Couple of rush behinds. Dogs lead the contest by 12 points. Quentin Graham to do the kicking out for the Bulldogs. The target is Schooler. Cranston did pretty well at the back. Foot race, Logan and O'Sullivan. Logan pretty happy to see it out of bounds. And just looking at the inside 50s, pretty even, but the Dogs have been more productive going forward, Chiggy, haven't they?
I think the Dogs certainly look a little bit more settled at this stage, and we'll just need to sort of settle it down a bit and start using each other. Here we get an option now with Backwell going inside 50.
Backwell got it from Ruwell and kicked long. The target's Kirk. Getting back is Stuart Cochrane. Did all right, tried to get it to the line. Kirk just a toe poke. Horan might just kick a goal. He worked it pretty well. That's an opportunistic goal by Jack Horan. Good play by the big man in Kirk.
Oh, yeah, you've got to take your hat off to Kirk there. That's certainly Kirk's goal. If the kick coming in from Backwell, which we'll probably see in a minute, wasn't a great kick, I don't think, because Kirk was on the other side of his player, and Backwell put it out on the scoreboard side. Kirk had to work really hard there, as you can see. Just created an opportunity, and Horan was good enough just to get a toe to it and kick the goal. But great work by the big man.
Ball's thrown up, ball's thrown up. Horan just taking advantage of that ball slipping across the goal line. Seems like soccer has become in vogue at the moment. Got the World Cup and Australia's success, and I'll tell you what, we've seen a lot of balls kicked off the ground thus far this afternoon. Cochrane down the line with his little toe poke. James to Chris Gowans, and Chris Gowans taken over the line. I'm sure that ball bounced over the line. Eventually, it's well and truly over. Let's have another look. Where did that bounce? On the point. Thought of that was holeless bowless over the line, but never mind. It is now. McKenzie at the front. Down to Slade. Had a day out last week with 5 goals. Now Thomas inside forward 50. Sherwood at the back. Read it best, slipped in trouble. Went for the line, didn't get it. And now Centrals will capitalise. No, Moore coming in with a mark. Just near the goal square, prepared to chip it wide. Willits, forward pocket, or rather back pocket for the Bays. Goes in short for Panozzo, and he was taken late. Umpire ruled that was chopping across the hands, and so Panozzo will take the free kick. They want to run the Bays, no doubt about that. This side of the ground, nothing much on offer. Keeps it low, almost missed the target, was fortuitous there. O'Connell down to half forward, and a nice lead up coming from Kirkby, who looks up inside forward 50 with Rogers making good ground to the ball. Rogers looks up. He's got O'Connell running for him, and Kirk saying, kick it long to the square. He does go long and punching through late. The two Cochrane boys were involved there, and it was Richard doing the punching.
Not a bad tactic by Rogers there, though. He got the big man one out in the square. Cochrane had to work real hard to get there. Kirkby's starting to look reasonably dangerous across half forward. He's looked all right.
Royal Air to be a bit worried about that mismatch with Kirk and Stuart Cochrane. If they can expose that, Kirk needs to kick a couple of goals. Here's Backwell on the wing. Foxed it out to Panozzo. Panozzo's got to beat a couple. Did all right. Allen got it to Backwell. Here's Hinge. Bay's going forward. Kirk gave something in the square. Decided to go long. Getting back is Graham. Over the back. Rogers, did he keep it in? Horan, he might screw it round for a goal. No, it did go through from behind. And the Bays frittering away opportunities. Another behind to them as O'Sullivan goes off down there, Mark Soderstrom.
Yeah, just coming off for a spell. Going on Justin Westhoff. He's going up forward for Central District. Slotted 2 goals last week, so he's in reasonable form.
It's interesting there too. He's going to, well, Mitchell's on him, so that's a bit of a mismatch at the other end too. It'll be interesting to see what Micken does there. Battle of old and young there, won by Ware on Moore. Got it up to McKenzie, who looks inside forward 50 and just waits the kick to James Gowans. Just over the top of Hinge in the forward pocket. Yes, reasonably easy kick for James, you'd think. He just read the footy pretty well, pushed Hinge under a little bit early and then just stepped back beautifully with a very well-weighted kick.
Yeah, no closer. Ben, you're right there.
This to get that lead back out to 8 points.
Yeah, he's on it. Don't go alongside him, stay behind.
I say he's the less accurate of the twins, James Gowans, and thank you very much. Minor scorer. Fancy Chris has got a better record at goalkeeping.
Well, James booted 4 straight last week, and Chris couldn't buy a goal, so...
Well, he gets a shot. When he gets a shot.
They're normally up around 20, 30 goals, the pair of them at this particular point. But injury has dogged them a little bit. Pardon the pun. O'Connell spreads it to the outer side. Panozzo doing a bit of ducking and weaving and goes back to McConnell. Justin McConnell. Normally in the long sleeves. In short to Moore, so the Bulldogs just getting back in numbers, stifling the Bays for the moment. Good running by Panozzo. Willits is the target, but that's a poor kick. Just letting himself down with a bit of foot skill error at the moment. And a 25-metre penalty against Backwell.
Encroaching on the mark, but there was nothing in it, really.
Surely we've got better things to worry about than a small encroachment that didn't cause anyone any frustration. Paul Thomas, who's probably had about 7 kicks with his left boot, he decides to load one up with the right. Westhoff goes, that's Justin. Over the back, Shell. Well done, Panozzo, got his body in hard. Sherwood, over the back, Mules. His swirling kick over the head of Thomas. Close to the line. Well, no one can grab it. Thomas dragged it back in. How will umpire Day see it? Play on, good call. Bays go forward through Allen. Rogers, long way from goal. Logan's got a problem. Smith tries to get around Graham. Graham couldn't get his arms around him. Rogers got a call, a brilliant one too, over the back. It was taken by Saunders. Ball high, Sibanala. Didn't drop the footy, Saunders in again. Here's Logan, just threw it on the boot. It's gone high. Will it carry? Kirk's there. Maybe rushed through for another behind, and I think that's rushed behind number 5.
It's a comedy embarrassing, wasn't it? God. But that was a fantastic pickup by Saunders, the half volley. Got the hands out, but then I think it's just a few little mistakes after that. But pretty desperate footy out there at the minute.
2 points to the margin. We're into time on in the opening quarter here at the Bay. Good mark by Schooler. Reaching up high, he's taking a couple of strong marks already. Down to James Gowan, centre wing. Mules holds him up slightly. Plays on, down to half forward, looks for his brother. Got best position, Chris Gowan's got away from Mitchell a little too easy. Quickly onto Ware, wanted to fake. Well done by Mitchell, almost shut him down. The pass was good though. Lee Westhoff.
Brad Sugar's coming on for his first run for Glenelg. He's heading up forward and coming off big Trevor Cranston, the cabinet maker.
Lee Westhoff, the left footer. About the kick from 30 metres or thereabouts. And he looked a bit narrow, and he was. Just hooked it slightly.
Well, his brother doesn't miss many. Justin Westhoff, I think he's got about 17 goals too. Coming up at quarter time, Norwood and the Eagles clashed last night, and a little bit of Sturt and North from last night. A couple of Friday night games. Unusual, Cheeky, to see 2 Friday night games, particularly when there's no AFL footy around in Adelaide.
Absolutely, and this time of year where it can be a bit colder and wetter as well. So they've taken a risk and came off, I think.
Yeah. So those highlights coming up at quarter time on our broadcast this afternoon of this game. It's building up. Logan's kick to the outer side. Willits to Logan, who kept running. Good stretch. James Gowans just holds him up. It'll be 25. Just grabbed him by the boot. He's going crook, but that's normal. Everything activating pretty well.
You sort of disregard it, really, don't you, when it's the Gowans?
Yep. They'll always have a chat. Umpires know it. Logan wants to centre it back into Willits, the man who gave it to him. Willits will drive it long. He's hoping for a mark. Rogers is there, and he judged it well, but he couldn't take the mark. Over the back of the pack. Smith, a bit of curl on that football, but not enough curl. Another behind. 2 goals, 6 for the Bays. They've had plenty of it.
Have had plenty of it. Both teams have had Backwell just there. He could have given a quick little give too, but obviously under pressure decided to throw it on the boot.
Gee, they've got some targets, some tall targets, as McKenzie just takes a seat, and they bring on O'Sullivan, so tall for small. Here's Swatala.
This is his 8th kick for Adam Swatala.
Well, you talked about, Chiggy, a little earlier about respect and making sure you stay with your man every now and then. Obviously, Swatala's running around like the proverbial unregistered dog.
Well, there's times where people are getting touches and they're not hurting him, but I think Swatala is doing a bit of damage. He's had a couple of shots at goal, and he's kicked one, I think, and kicked a couple. So, like, he's certainly been very dangerous.
Ware out of the pack. Westhoff now into the forward 50, looking for Shell. Sherwood did brilliantly. Got rid of his man, and they got rid of the ball. Mitchell, he's got Hinge ahead of him. Goes for Hinge with the pass. Great kick. Now Hinge has got space to work with. He ran hard. Hinge into the forward 50. Couple of marking targets. Wilson comes across. And Sugars, oh, he got a hand pass out of there brilliantly. Rogers now to Backwell. Can he finish it? He can! That'll bring the crowd to its feet. 2 for Brett Backwell. And Sugars, I think, with probably his first touch in the game, from the base of the pack, got the ball out brilliantly.
It was a great passage of play right from the back line there. Yeah, beautiful there under extreme pressure, but didn't cough up the footy. Waited until he could see some of their hand pass it out. Backwell could have given the hand pass, but it was good enough to finish it off there. Very handy goal late in the quarter.
4 points the difference that changed down there, Mark Soderstrom.
Yes, Mark Micken has whipped off Ty Allen. He's come off for a quick spell. He's replaced by another boy from the southeast in Lucas Block.
Glenelg by 4 points. Entertaining start to this match. Knocked down by Kirk. Rove by O'Sullivan for Centrals. He'll look for Shell. Shell at the front. At the back, Sherwood knocked it down. All played by the Bay defence. Taken by Westhoff Lee. He got it away to James Gowans. Normally a good finisher. Scrubby old kick. He wouldn't be happy with that. Mules went without the football. Westhoff got it to James Gowans, who wants to feed it back to Thomas. Thomas has been everywhere. He'll kick with his left boot again. And how well does he kick this time? He doesn't. He misses once again. And the Dogs by 3 points. Central, Glenelg by 3 points, I should say, Neil. Too exciting for me.
That's it there, that's it.
Benozzo, left forward pocket for the Bays in front of the old cricket nets. Glenelg Cricket Club, of course, plays here as well. Squares the ball straight to the other pocket. And Mitchell with it in hand. If he wants, he could probably put the ball to centre wing from this position. Kick of only 70 metres or thereabouts.
8th kick coming up for David Mitchell as well.
He decides he does want to go to 70 metres down centre wing and finds Logan. Couldn't take it on the chest. The pack was taken apart by Smith, which allowed Logan to get to his feet, drive it to centre half forward. Great kick. Now Kirkby goes wide from McConnell. McConnell on centre wing, running down the ground. Horan's over the top. Opts to go back through the middle to Backwell. Just inside 50, taken down. Umpire says that's okay. Brett Backwell has Smith in the pocket with the hands up and decides he'll go back and take his time. Late in the quarter, we've gone beyond 26 minutes. Backwell's waiting. On the other side of the ground, he has a couple of players as well. So Centrals have sagged off in a big way, and that's allowed Saunders to take the mark.
Certainly looked like their Centrals really focusing on the big man in the centre square. Just let a couple of Glenelg blokes sneak off to the side, and Backwell good enough to find them.
So taking his time, Saunders. He should, you would think, be able to carry the distance. There's no breeze to speak of, really. Still day at the Bay. That's a good kick. That's a good kick, and they're destined to win another quarter. Another opening quarter.
That was a very good kick. It's not an easy kick from there, you know, 35, 40 out, just on that 45-degree angle. So Backwell there had the vision, can certainly pick him out. Saunders could have actually run on at the time if he liked to have a shot at goal, but decided to go back and put it away, which was the right decision in the end, finishing off with a good goal.
Plenty of raps from the bench here for Lee Saunders as he comes off after that goal to have a spell. He's been replaced by Mark Ruwal with half forward, being picked up by Richie Cochran.
Footy budget tells us he's kicked his second goal in league footy. Ball knocked down. Thomas, another possession to him. He's racking them up. We'll go to Ian in a moment. And Cochran, Hinge. Just lost the handle on the football. Slade's had about enough of this. Just handballed it over. Unfortunately for Willits, it hit the bootlaces and went out of bounds on the full.
Paul Thomas, 5 kicks, 3 handballs.
James Gowans' kick is a beauty and finds Adam Swatala, similar to Matthew Slade in uncharted territory, I think, Adam Swatala.
Well, Swatala and McConnell were playing that far apart from each other. It's unbelievable. They're normally on opposite sides of the ground, but Swatala's certainly having the better of the duel at the moment.
He's the man who could have 3 goals. He's hurt them going forward. Swatala with a couple of goals. Lines them up. He's normally a good kick, and that's enough to make that ball all of a sudden swerve away for a behind.
It'll be interesting to see how Glenelg bring this out. They've been chipping around in the back line a lot and caused themselves a little bit of pressure at times. So it'll be interesting to see with someone like Mitchell holding on the footy, you think you'd get it out long.
Let's see. He's got a couple short. He opts to go short and wide. And that'll be all she wrote. Ryan Willits taking the mark there. And at quarter time at the Bay, Glenelg 4-6-30, Central District 3-4-22, 8 points the margin in favour of the Bays.
Well, it was a pretty good first quarter, I think, for both teams. Like there was, both teams had plenty of the football, and you can certainly see Glenelg just got to the front. They've kept their good record up this year of being in front every first quarter time of every game, so they'll be happy with that.
It's a good record and a good start, and the round started last night under lights with 2 games, and the first one we're going to have a look at, the Eagles against Norwood at the Parade. And the Redlegs, well, they're very much the night owls of the competition. They do play a lot under lights.
They certainly do, and it was a big game for them last night. It's Brett James' testimonial, and they certainly needed to win this game to keep in touch with the top 5. We'll try to get back in there, so they were going to play with a lot of passion, as you can see there, but in the end, the Eagles sort of just ran over them.
Eagles just keep on keeping on, don't they?
They do. They're a good team, the Eagles. They're not blowing sides away at the moment, but they're just doing enough. And I think they went there for a couple of quarters and didn't kick a goal in the third quarter, I think it was. So just kept persevering and got up with a win in the end.
Yes, they certainly started well. They went quiet for 2 quarters, and then they came home having been challenged very severely by the Redlegs. Yeah. The Eagles finished off very well, as did Gavin Colville, the skipper there.
Lindsay having 48 hit-outs gave his on-ballers, and when you got Colville and Cicoletta on these blokes, they certainly do hurt you. So it's going to make it hard for Nord when a ruckman is that dominant.
Yeah, they do have a lot of talent through the midfield, don't they? And if you've got that ruckman that's going to give them first look, they're always going to be around the place. And let's face it, they have been around the place for, what, 5 or 6 years now?
Absolutely. They've got the experience here, they've got the class, and then they can move the ball forward. It's going to put that Norwood midfield under extreme pressure. Sounds like Culprit stood up pretty hard and had a go with it, but in the end, just too many numbers, I think, in the Eagles' way.
Well, a lot made of the fact that the Eagles have some key forwards and Norwood didn't, and that was perhaps the difference last night as we look at that final score. 14 goals, 13-97 for the Eagles. Norwood 11-10-76, a margin of 21 points. And now we go to the other match from last night with Sturt against North Adelaide. That was at the Adelaide Oval, so it just gets better and better. I tell you, the surface at the Adelaide Oval is absolutely wonderful. And early on, the double blues took full advantage.
Well, it was nearly a game of two halves this time, wasn't it? Like Sturt were up by 33 points at half-time. And then, obviously, North turned it on, especially with Daniel Motlop having a big third quarter and carrying it on there, and ended up in, he kicked 5-5, I think, in the end, and North dominated the second half of the game.
Well, Sturt's had some problems with injuries this year, and really they haven't looked like the running brigade that they've had in the past. Of course, they're missing young Hurley, who's captaining the South Australian team in the under-18 championships.
Certainly are, and he's a very good young player, and I've been very impressed with him this year, but they go back and they really rely on their old guns, you know, your Squire and these guys to get the ball for them. They need some of these kids coming up to take the pressure off these guys.
As we said, Motlop went crazy there in the second half and turned it on. And North Adelaide, of course, have that ability, don't they? They have so many players of that quality. If it's not Motlop or Campbell, they could produce it from Dean Howard. They can produce it from this man Laddams. They can do it all.
They've got a classed list there, and when they're on, they're a very hard team to beat, especially when they're running, using each other, throwing the footy around. Choco Williams would be happy. Imagine he sort of put the heat on Motlop a bit this week, wondering where his headspace is at. But he's come back and answered him with how easy make that look. That's a fantastic goal, isn't it?
What was that? I think there's 3 players, 3 different ways of balking around them. And then finally he said, OK, this is too easy. Banana kick goal. 41 points, the final margin in favour of the Roosters. That's twice this season they've really given Sturt a pummelling virtually through one quarter. So, yeah, quite an interesting result, that one, for North, proving their quality. We're going down to this game now and have a listen to Mark Micken talk to the Bays.
We don't want Kirky just out on the lead, 6'6" against a 6-footer. All right, so if we can get the ball in quickly to a one-on-one, it's much more dangerous than kicking it on the goal line and rushing it through for a point. All right, so let's set it up for him and give him a chance. All right, we're up at quarter time again. We know all about that. What we've got to work out now is if we can be up by more again at half-time. Okay? The second quarter. So a real intensive effort in the second quarter. Okay. Now, just
well, you can hear Mark Micken there. He talked about Daniel Kirk being up against a 6-footer, and that's Stuart Cochrane. So he'd like his midfielders and the players running the ball into the 50 to expose that height difference favouring Glenelg, get Daniel Kirk to grab a couple of big marks and kick some goals there. And last week, Micken was also critical of his sides tackling perhaps some of the mistakes they made, which led to them losing by 2 goals to the Eagles. He's a lot happier with the way they've started today.
Thanks for that, Sodas. Just time enough to go through our tipping competition for this week. It's Aaron Smith of Hope Valley. Congratulations, the winner for the round 11. And abc.net.au/SANFL footy. That's what we're after, SA footy. And Banda leading the way, as you see. Often predictable, the SANFL in past years, but this year a lot of upsets around the place, and that's made that tighten up on the ladder. Time for the second quarter here at the Bay. Here's Michael Maney.
Looking forward to it too. The Bay's pretty good. They've won their 11th first quarter. So fantastic for them. Can they win a second quarter? Logan to Moore. Umpire Ralston just about got in the way. Worm burner by Moore to Backwell. Over the top handball. Moore can't get it clean. Where can? It's the foot down. Gets it to Thomas, who continues to be a good player. Looking for Gowans. James. Hinge. Well done by Mackenzie. Terrific play to Cowan. Cowan's got a problem. He's got a couple of problems. Ball jar's loose. Cranston fights with James Gowans. Ball out of bounds. Boundary throw in. Anything you've seen where the coaches have changed things up in this second term, Nick?
Not at this stage, Michael. It seems pretty much the same, and probably fair enough too. You'd think both teams would be pretty happy with their first quarter, so they'd be backing their players, I'd say, at this stage.
Mark Micken watching on. What was it about Mark Micken, Chiggy, that made him stand out as far as the Bays were concerned?
I think he had very good systems and structures. He really knew what he wanted the team to do, and I think you can see the way they're playing. They're a pretty disciplined bunch, and they know what each player on the field's got to do. So they're still obviously learning it, but there's been some good early signs.
Seem to be playing a good brand of football, that's for sure. Beat this side they're playing up against in round 3 by 95 points with wonderful running football like this. Hinge looks for Horan against Wilson, who's been pretty quiet so far. Horan just dives forward, no free kick. Lee Westhoff shovels it out. Sibanala looking for O'Sullivan. Oh, that's a good mark by O'Sullivan. He had Wilson on for a moment. Then he drills looking for Shell. His marksman today is Sherwood. He's done all right so far, Sherwood as well. Ball just bobbles out. Ruwalt went without the footy. James Gowans, umpire, will pay a free kick for holding on. It'll go to Ruwalt.
Sherwood's been very impressive, I think, this first quarter and a bit. Sherwood's a dangerous player, but Sherwood can provide the run off him as well, which could be very beneficial for Glenelg.
Horan's taken the short pass, and now he's taking his time. Mules was the target, wide. Wilson did well, just got a hand in there. He'll just let it go to the boundary. He is content with that.
Yeah, just the one handball for Adrian Wilson today. Significantly for the Dogs, neither Chris Gowans nor Matthew Slade have had a kick yet.
Benny Mules just looks like he might be just off the ball a little bit too. He's just a couple of things he normally would eat those footies up, and he sort of just missed them at the moment.
Interesting ruck contest with Schooler and Smith getting to know each other, and Smith having the better of it. Now that they go at it again, just hugs all round. It's just a loving feeling out there as the Bays get it forward 50 entry. Thomas, though, intercepts for Centrals, scrambles. Now he's to his feet. Farmed out a hand pass. It's loose, it's scrappy. Finally, it comes to Gowans. Off his left foot, lovely chip to his brother, James. James Gowans still at half back for Central District. They trail by 8 points. Takes his time, and now he's got Graham. Switch of players on to Stuart Cochran on this side of the ground. Bays, though, have done pretty well. They've manned up. That kick had to be perfect. Smith came across and knocked it away from Sibanala onto his foot. No, umpire said it was touched somehow in there. We might get another look at that one. Let's have a look. I think it might have come off his hand. And then below the knee. I don't know.
We need a 3D image.
Well, I got a feeling it was out in the full, but it's play on anyway. Brett Backwell does well. Slips out a hand pass to Moore. Moore tries to use his pace. And against Ware, that was dangerous, proven so. Here's Slade with an opportunity. No, taken down, holding the ball. Is it? No.
Mark Soderstrom, you were right on the spot down there. Was that out of bounds on the full or not?
Michael, I would have gone with out of bounds on the full. It came off below the knee, and I think that's included as part of the foot, off the shin. So I would have said out of bounds on the full, but we'll give the man in white the benefit of the doubt.
You're always like that in your SANFL football career, Mark Soderstrom. Taken by Slade, who got it to Thomas, who's had plenty of the football, but his kick's astray and dropping back in the hole. The Schooler does so well for the Dogs is Cranston, a 25-metre penalty for holding on, just impeding the player from moving on. Cranston's free kick becomes a free handball to Panozzo, who ran into all sorts of problems and ran into problems with his kick too. McConnell has to be safe and sure here and does all right. Even got time for a bouncing, which is good play, and needs to work on his left boot.
It's a bit what I was talking about earlier. I just think they're putting themselves under extreme pressure by looking at these little cute chip passes, whereas coming out of there, should have just got it out of the area and let the guys up forward have a look at it.
Too many possessions, you'd think. That's a drilling pass by Gowans, Chris, and finds Swatala. Amazingly, Swatala is inside 50, having another shot.
Yeah, and that's his opponent who kicked it out on the full to give it the opportunity to do that. So it's going to hurt McConnell even more.
Where's that runner? Should the runner be going out? Or did someone speak to that man? Adam Swatala. He's got a couple. He doesn't miss many. He's got 3. He's had 4 shots on goal. And as you mentioned, Chiggy, you don't man him up, you're in big trouble.
He's a dangerous player, no doubt about that. This is a beautiful pass by Chris Gowans, though. You just pinpointed it there, and it had to be absolutely pinpointed or else he wasn't going to get there. But Swatala is, you know, probably the best player on the field at the moment and really carving up McConnell, I would say.
Swatala's had 10 kicks, has got free enough to take 7 marks.
Gets the Bays out of the game in many ways, though it's very close. You can't be allowing players like that to get free, because what will happen is a Cowan or a McKenzie or a Shell will start kicking goals as well.
Well, if you want to use McConnell as that, because he is dangerous, and using him as that loose player behind play, put someone else on to Swatala who can play him a bit tighter, maybe.
Well, 3 goals to this stage in the second term is just not on from a winger.
Yeah. You had a reasonable first quarter and a bit if you'd done that.
Another bounce in the middle. Straight up it goes. Nicely done by Rubol. Logan gave it a top to Moore. Moore just took a fumble. The hand pass put Mitchell under pressure. Was good enough to get it away to the left foot of Logan. Delivered with the pass to Rogers. Nicely done. There wasn't much room to spear that pass in. McConnell also. Umpires surely will call play on in a moment. Rogers from 55 starts at left, stays left, and just sneaks in for the minor score.
Change down there, Sodas.
Yeah, Luke McCabe coming onto the ground. Remember last week he hit that beautiful bump on Troy Butcher. Well, perhaps it was a little bit not in the play, but geez, it was a nice bump anyway. He's gone up forward and he's been picked up by Johnny Hinge.
First score of the afternoon to Aaron Rogers, their leading goal kicker so far this year. One of the leading possession winners for the Bulldogs is O'Sullivan, to one of the best defenders, Sibanala. To Ware, who got it to Wilson. Wilson looks a little bit better in this term. He's getting himself around the football. Outstanding last week. Just holds onto the football for a fortnight, so the Bays are able to man up and get back. And then got not too close to the man on the mark, just kept the kick too low. Well done, Rogers. Handball away to Allen. They go forward again. Quinton Graham comes out and takes a lovely mark. Allen's kick needed to be a little bit more precise than that. Graham loads it up. Westhoff has got to sit and wait for it, and does. Cranston arrives a little bit too late. What's he got? Shell and Sherwood. Shell squeezes out a lead, and Sherwood with plenty of pressure, body contact. He copped one on the way through too, did Sherwood. He's a bit dazed by that off camera. Ball just bobbling along. McConnell just throws himself forward. The umpire fall for that, he did.
I think it was a bit of an academy award. I think Sherwood was a bit stiff not to get one probably. It'd be interesting to see it, but he's shaking his head there a bit, Paul Sherwood. Here it is. Oh yeah, he probably caught one a little high.
It's across the back of the head. Just another day at the office. Hinges on the outer side, and he tries to burn off O'Sullivan and does.
Only just got it down to half forward. Lots of Centrals players there, and they all fly. Horan gets the hand pass out quickly. Now under pressure, but doing well was Allen. Back to Backwell. Backwell's left footer couldn't find his target in Rogers. Graham came across nicely. Now Slade. Thomas will burn off now. He will go to half forward before he's forced to kick. Decides to go for McCabe. Misses him. Sherwood now recovered, coming across. He'll rush it. Surely no. Decides, oh gee, maybe he should have rushed it. He got it to Willits. Took his time. Went down the middle. That was dangerous. McConnell couldn't get it. Backwell knocks it to the side. Moore comes in. Slipped out a hand pass. Now they're under pressure, the Bays. The Dogs working hard. O'Sullivan got it back to Slade. Slipped the ball out, only just. Good pressure from both sides in that situation. Logan gave the hand pass out. Now he has to go in again. Ball scrambled towards the boundary. Mitchell, he'll probably be content to take it over the line. He was tripped and he'll now take a free kick, and now he's very happy to take that.
A bit of relief for the Bays. I think a bit of a relief for everyone. At least we can get a kick. There was a lot of pressure in there, but yeah, Mitchell will clear the area with a bit of luck.
The Bays are just overcooking the football at the moment, and it's a 2-on-1 situation. And Panozzo did remarkably well to get that ball to ground. Well done by Moore, front and square. Sherwood, short kick, spots up Panozzo, the man who was heroic a moment ago. Now, the Bulldogs have been pretty good so far in manning up. Both teams manning up, and when there's a loose man, the kicks needs to be precise in a pressure match. Not so much pressure there as Moore was in space. McConnell and also Smith. I think there was a bit of talking there, but Smith just kicks to half forward, coming across Schooler. The target was Kirkby, but Schooler drops back so well in the gap.
Certainly is. The central guys are falling back there, and that's where Glenelg's breaking down at the moment. He's just getting across that half-forward line.
Just ill-directed kicks. Daniel Shell in unfamiliar territory on the wing. Good kick. Cowan jostles with Willits. Hinge was there. And he takes it. And Willits to Hinge.
Going inside again, they want to hit the body, that's for sure.
More short kicks. The skipper Mules to the outer side. Body work done by Slade. Terrific work. McCabe got a man short in Thomas. Thomas looks to a forward line that's got Shell in space. His kick was all right. Magnificent work out there. I think it might have been Allen who got in the gap. Ruwalt. Yeah, terrific play. McConnell's caught. Good tackle by Thomas. How will the umpire view this? He says you had more than ample opportunity. And here's a lovely interception. That's terrific play by Ruwalt. Play goes on live. Wilson can load up from 45, kicks it long. Chris Gowans floats across and takes a mark, while Cowan and Willits were tangling in the goal square. Chris Gowans floats across, takes a mark, and kicks a goal.
The Gowans pushed down there. His opponent seemed to, the Glenelg boys seemed to sort of make the wall up already, but no one followed down to be in front of the pack either. And Gowans had a pretty easy mark there all on his own. 3 on to 2 there, as you can see, finished off with a goal. So Centrals are looking pretty dangerous early in this second quarter.
Got a change down here. It's Westhoff for Westhoff. Lee's come off the ground, and brother Justin has gone up forward just to provide a bigger target for Glenelg for Central District. It's just causing some problems with Glenelg's defence. Now they're trying to work out who's going to pick him up.
Looks like Hinge is going to go up and do that. So does at this stage. It was Panozzo, but they've swapped players at the moment.
Schooler. Thomas was in space, going to be shut down quickly. Opts to go wider to Wilson on his left foot. He'll go further into the forward line and deep, looking for McCabe. Panozzo came from behind with a punch, which was pretty good. Sherwood was balanced, got the hand pass out the back, which was dangerous. O'Sullivan was desperate. Brilliant from McCabe, and almost it down. It comes off, and James Gowans. Well done by Hinge. Very much like a soccer goalkeeper there. Hinge as he sprawled across to stop that from going through for a goal. McCabe on the ground was brilliant, and Roy Laird's on the phone.
Almost looked like a bit of a throw by McCabe, but either that or very quick hands.
A crow throw, they say it. Years and years and years ago. Hinge is at half-back. A couple of changes down there, a couple ready to make their appearance, Sodas.
Yeah, Lucas Block's just come on the ground, and he's replaced Ty Allen. We saw that change earlier in the game, so they'll be working in tandem together. And Lee Saunders ready to come back on the ground. He's already in good form, slotted a goal earlier.
He did. It was a good kick too. Over the top. Gowans, James. I think he might be pinged. He dropped it. Oh, the umpires love to blow the whistle when they make a mistake. 25-metre penalty, but the advantage rule was paid. Smith's out in the mountain of space. He'll kick it inside 50. Rogers is on his own and takes the mark. He's on an angle, and McConnell makes a lead, and he just holds it up. That's a couple of times Rogers has ignored leads, and McConnell, he just wants someone to kick it to him.
Well, if you can go back and kick it, that's fair enough. He's your full forward, and that quick movement in there, you see, gives the guys an opportunity.
Kicked 5 goals the last time the two teams met. And he'd do plenty of practice at goal kicking from there. Doesn't quite make the distance. Off the back to Justin Westhoff. We haven't called him too much. He's just hovering around half back. Chris Gowans over the top to McCabe. And the Bulldogs are building away.
Switala and McCabe shared a ball. Now Switala's got it back again. Gowans, James, under pressure. Went wide with the hand pass. Shell Interchange there, just the ruckman looking like they've interchanged for Centrals, down to half forward. Meanwhile, and I think it might have been Willits eventually got a hand to that ball. Interesting matchup. Willits on Cowan. We saw them struggling in the goal square before. A lot of strength between those two. Mark Micken.
Well, looks like that might have changed, and Willis has gone across to Westhoff, I reckon now.
Backwell straight to the middle of the ground where Graham now has the option of going to this side to Westhoff. And immediately they've made that change and Westhoff has taken a nice mark.
Makes it pretty tough though when it comes out of your defence like that and it just comes straight back in with no pressure. Westhoff just had to have a good lead and no pressure from the kick, so he could sit it out in front, so not a lot Willits could do.
Quentin Graham was just hovering in the middle of the ground. He got caught out before. I think it was Rogers went away from him and he opted to maintain himself in the corridor. That time it worked for Centrals. Justin Westhoff doesn't miss too many. Hasn't missed this one. Lovely kick.
He's got a very impressive leg, hasn't he? What's it, 18-3 for the year, is it, I think, his kick? So it's not a bad percentage, is it? So Backwell obviously under a bit of pressure, had to get it forward, but straight to Graham, and look at that kick. Westhoff, very good mark, but he can finish it off with a lovely leg too. Not a hard kick, but still, if you're kicking 18-3 for the year, you know you're pretty accurate.
Amazing. Looked too good off the boot either. It just went straight through the middle. Backwell needs to do something. Block. The kick finds Rogers. Rogers hoping. Inside 50. Smith can't take it. Ball knocked away. Chance for a crumb. O'Sullivan. Saunders in hard. Crowd want ball or some sections of it. It's inside 50 for Glenelg, and they haven't kicked a goal in this term, and that's a worry. Kirk down to block. Couldn't get it clean. Taken by O'Sullivan. So the Dogs out of trouble again through Wilson, who spots up McCabe. That's the difference in the two sides at the moment. The Dogs are hitting targets, and the Bays are mucking around with the footy. McCabe's kicked down, but Mills somehow grabbed that mark. Amazing balance. Finds Rogers too far out to score. About 130 metres from goal. Shorts it up to Sherwood, as you mentioned, Chiggy. He'll run off Daniel Shell, but Shell was in the vicinity. Sherwood's kick. They're just going this short chipping game, waiting for something to be absolutely perfect. As Rogers hopes for a mark in the pack. McKenzie can't take it. Ball to ground. Big pack of players right in the forward pocket. A ball up, 18 gone. 10 points the difference. And who's that on the bike, Sodas?
Ty Allen, I think, wasn't it, Sodas?
Yes, it certainly is Ty Allen, just keeping himself warm there, working on and off the ground from the midfield. Another change going on here. Trevor Cranston coming off in the ruck, and he's been replaced by debutant Brad Sugars.
Ware at half-back goes for Westhoff. Justin Westhoff, good hands, couldn't take it. And the push against Hinge, who almost becomes unhinged in response. Wasn't very happy with that decision. Elijah Ware's taking a seat. Kirk got one hand up, just overbalanced. Now Willits. Willits will get the ball. Initially just wanted to shepherd, ran over the ball to shepherd. Willits goes down to half-forward, not the greatest of kicks. Rogers did well from behind, but now Centrals with the numbers. One of them was Graham. Somehow got out of there, went wide to centre wing. Thomas from the back. Made the most of the platform that was in front of him. Thomas now, nothing down the line. Let's have another look. One grab. Into the midfield he goes. Stuart Cochrane drives it up long, looking for Shell. Had one hand on his player below. Umpire said that was okay. Willits towards the boundary line. Cowan took him down. Ball went over the line. Good result for Centrals. They can set up from here. Here's Roy Laird having a chat on the phone, perennially so, it seems.
You'd have to be pretty happy with how they're going at the moment. They're certainly controlling the game. Glenelg just sort of lost their way a bit in the last 10 minutes.
Sullivan wrapped up immediately as Kirk, it was the Bay Ruckman knocking it down. Daniel Kirk recommended to the Bays by the legend of the club, Peter Carey. James Gowans partially smothered through for the minor score.
Yeah, Glenelg just got to get back to finding the body again, get a bit of confidence. They just look like they're under pressure a little bit, probably lacking that bit of confidence to back themselves in at the moment. Need a goal to settle things.
Michael, David Mitchell having his versatility tested in the back pocket. He was on Jason McKenzie, the ruckman, in the first quarter. Now he's chasing around the red-hot Rover and Matty Slade.
It's a bit pretty fit at the moment. Taken by Pinozzo, who kicks long to Kirkby in a long lead. That's a lovely kick. Good lead by Kirkby. It's amazing how Rogers have had to come right up the ground to get his kicks, and Kirkby leading because they have broken down at half forward. But Kirkby's got it on the wing. He just takes a fortnight to get rid of it and then lets himself down with a pretty ordinary kick to the boundary line. Now, he held onto the football for quite some time, Chiggy, and then the kick just went nowhere.
Again, it's probably the confidence. They haven't got the runners coming past. It's better to turn, get it in quick, I think, at the moment, just to give the forwards a bit of a one-on-one chance instead of letting Central's flood back.
And Central's asserting their authority at the moment. Chris Gowans down the line to Shell. First time he's had something clean in front of Sherwood. It is looking for O'Sullivan. He scoots away. He's a good player, this bloke. He kicks beautifully to Cowan. Lace out. Delivery. Magnificent by Chad O'Sullivan. And the big man in Luke Cowan will go back. Surprisingly, he's only booted 5 this year. And he'll shoot for goal.
See the difference here, the pressure that Willits was under, because the ball came in long and quick. Whereas Glenelg have been chipping around holding it here, running through the centre. Lovely leg. Again, Willits right with him. Not a lot he could do with it, really.
Willits has maybe done a driver or a groin in running for that ball then. Just stretched and he's in trouble.
Not doing much bouncing around on the mark as Cowan slots a lovely goal. Oh, it's out to 17 points. And the Bulldogs lead the inside 50 count 26 to 18. That's worrying times if you're a Bay supporter.
Well, and again, especially the way that even when it has gone into Glenelg's 50, it hasn't been that smooth. Willits is sort of hobbling a bit there now. It's hanging out there, staying out there at the moment, but looking a little bit sore and sorry.
Andrew Hayes has come onto the ground for Central Districts. He's gone back. He made his debut last week and looked pretty accomplished in defence, and he's picking up Rory Kirkby.
Well, the Bays need one, you'd think, before half-time, just to steady the ship somewhat. We're into time on in the second term. Here's Pinozzo off half-back flank, down to half-forward. Nice little chip forward. This is always, you would think, their best opportunity because the Dogs do flood. Here's Ruwalt. Inside half-forward with the kick. Wilson just dropping across in front of the leading Kirkby. Wilson has got a couple of men in the middle, but opts to go down the line looking for Westhoff. Oh, what a talent this lad is. He's off and running. We know his disposal's good. It was this time to Sibanela. Sibanela's got Thomas on this side of the ground. Shell's on the lead. He goes instead down to half forward, and not a great kick. Looking for Lee Westhoff. More intercepts. Back ball centre wing. Mitchell running into space for him. He opts against that. Now the chance is gone as he looks back. Now he's called to play on. And now he goes long. Kirkby on the lead. Everybody missed it in the end. Out of bounds and left half forward for the Bays. And again, not very impressive, are they, in terms of just trying to get the ball ahead of centre to half forward.
No, again, they've just been cautious at the moment. Back themselves in, turn around, run, get it in quick. Mightn't be anyone there, but put it into space, let someone run onto it at least. At the moment, we're kicking straight to Central.
Well, both teams have a poor record in second quarters. Central's only won a couple this year out of 10, and the Bays, and there's that man, Willits, and that is not a sight for sore eyes if you're a Bay supporter. Another tall man gone in the defensive half of the ground. Westhoff got a nudge. We got a free kick. Just saying 2 out of 10 second quarters by Centrals. They're on track to be 3 from 11. And the second quarter hasn't been good for the Bays, just 4, so they're struggling this quarter. Here's Hayes in the back pocket. Ball was touched. Wilson's got to clean up. They're all right to see Benalu fed the handball out beautifully to Graham. Graham's got James Gowans. Gowans in a bit of space. He'll have a bounce. What's he got in front of him? The target will be Cowan. Cowan comes and can't mark. Crashes the pack as he normally does. Oh, McCabe tried to go off the ground. And a free kick for Mules. And there's Willets. Not looking too good, Jiggy.
No, you certainly would think he's a little tender there. You think he'll be back on in the short term.
Put the official word down there, Mark.
Yeah, the problem is with the right knee with Ryan Willets, and as you can see, and you boys have mentioned, he is very proper. He looks like he's in a fair amount of trouble at the moment. He'll be assessed at half-time. It's led to a change down back for Glenelg. Daniel Kirk is now playing in defence on Daniel Shell, and Sherwood's picking up Cowan.
Let's hope Willets can do a Favola and come back after half-time like he did last night. Oh, Backwell's made a couple of glaring mistakes. That's another one on McCabe. Got it away to Chris Gowans. Elijah Ware's hovering in the square. He flies a bit early. Doesn't give away a free kick. Surprisingly, Kirk. Ball's handball by Mules to Sherwood, whose kick needs to be pinpoint to Ben Moore, the former skipper. And the ball out of bounds. And Ben Moore missed a bit of last year. So does doing his fire brigade training. He
certainly did. He got into the recruit course later in the year, so he stepped out of football just so that he didn't get injured, but he's well entrenched now in the fire brigade in Wakefield Street in Adelaide and doing it beautifully, Michael.
Kirk won that ruck easily with his direct opponent McKenzie well behind play, just manning up down the line. Now it's Sherwood running wide, didn't have too many options. All he had was a hand pass, so he went to that. Nozzo chipped it inside. Block, taking his time. And that's all the time we'll have in the first half. So Centrals have definitely surged. A short quarter, just 26 and 51 seconds of time. And at half-time, it's Central District 7-6-48, leading the Bays 4-7-31, 17 points the margin.
Late night football on ABC2. All codes unite in a footy frenzy every night of the week. New South Wales Premier Rugby, club rugby at its best. Victorian Football League, the hottest action from the VFL. Queensland Rugby League, hard-hitting, powerful and pacey. Western Australian Football League, fierce competition, fiery footy. And the top matches from the South Australian National Football League. Late night footy, every night on ABC2.
Looking at the goal kickers there, we see Backwell with a couple for Glenelg. Swatala's been very dangerous there with 3 for Centrals and set up a couple, but apart from that, from singles. But Central's certainly dominating that quarter there, Neil.
And through the stats at half-time, as we see there, well, they wasted a lot of those possessions, the Bays. In comparison, Centrals have had around about the same number.
It is. It's the inside 50s, I suppose, where Centrals have certainly broken away a bit. They've had 10 inside 50 more than Glenelg, and it's the way that they've delivered it to their inside 50 as well. It's been great.
And so, as we briefly mentioned it there, that a lot of errors from the Bays in the first half.
Yeah, there certainly has been. Mark Micken, one of his goals over summer was to try and change the decision-making processes of his players, get them just to sharpen up those decisions. Today we have seen some errors, numerous of them that have led to goals. John Hinge made a bad error we've seen here, and that's led to a goal that comes via Adam Swatala. So Mark Micken was critical also last week of some decisions which resulted in them losing to the Eagles by 2 goals. Justin McConnell here, just unsure what to do. No targets up the ground to work on. Out of bounds on the full, and Swatala again kicked a goal from there. So still a little bit of work to do by Glenelg in that particular area.
And so does just very quickly, Ryan Willets, the injury?
Yeah, certainly in a lot of trouble during that second term. He came off, it was a knock to the right knee. He has been assessed during half-time by the medical staff, and they are playing their cards very close to their chest, so we'll update you on that a little bit later. So here's Michael Maney with the second half.
Thanks, Mark Soderstrom. Comprehensive report, as usual, from half-time. The Bays with a bit of work to do. They trail by 17 points. Ben Moore draws the man, goes to Ruwalt. Ruwalt will kick inside 50 and hope for a mark. He doesn't get one. Flicks over the back, but Cochrane's good enough. This is Richard to find his skipper, Paul Thomas, in the absence of Nathan Steinberner, who's out injured. And he's been a star for them this afternoon. Thomas, who gives a bit of ground back to Hayes. Seems to be the way when teams are kicking to left of the screen. They love to use that back half 50 to work it and switch it to the outer side. Schooler finds Swatala, who's had a good game. Kick is off the instep, but it fell all right for James Gowans. Gowans looks for Shell in the pocket, but the kick just floats away and out of bounds on the full. There's Daniel Shell, number 27. Although they haven't got much out of Daniel Shell, the Dogs still look pretty potent when they go forward, Chiggy.
They do. They've got a few other options up there, and Westhoff, I thought in that second quarter, looked very dangerous when it went up there any time.
Panozzo finds the big man, the former Tasmanian in Kirk. The big redhead. Just loads up a long kick. Allen flies with Logan, who came in from the side. Good grab by Logan. Squares it to McConnell, who does some fancy footwork away from McCabe. And a 3-on-1 contest. Ball spills over the back. No one can get it clean. Horan went off the ground. Lovely handball to Ruwalt. That was from the boy from Sacred Heart, Brad Sugars. There's a few running around here this afternoon. Chiggy will talk about that in a moment. That's the second time we've seen quick hands, but this is a specky from Logan. Before we go to that.
Logan, that's a great grab, and I think Logan's gone across to Switala too, and McConnell's off him, which I think is a good move. He's a class player, Logan, but that is a great grab. Gets off the ground and just doesn't look like he's in strife there at all. Beautiful grab. Finished it off. That was the very important goal. It was the first one Glenelg needed in that third quarter.
It's Wilson and Thomas, you notice they had too many numbers in the end. They both ran past the ball saying, no, it's yours. And they allowed Ruwalt to slip in and get the goal. And that's a great fillip for the base to start the second half. And they've now got another centre break. And they won't be allowed to carry on. It'll be brought back. It'll be a free kick. And it'll be Logan to take it. After he picked himself out of the mud. Great to see a bit of mud in footy. As I said, the Glenelg Cricket Club plays here, and got, what, 4 decks across the middle of the ground. The under half forward, the kick. Kirkby brought it to ground. Umpire called play on. This is how to bring the ball to the ground properly, though.
Yeah, great grab on the chest, but got plenty of air. There's no doubt about that.
Kirkby, lovely turn inside. The delivery was pretty good to Rogers, put it to ground. Ball slips out. Ruwalt again with another chance and touched off the boot. Umpire signal touched off the boot, and that was all that prevented another goal and a golden start for the Bays in the second half.
And I got that call wrong there before. Logan must have just picked up Swatala for a moment. It's actually Ruwalt who's on him. He's had a couple of touches early in this quarter as well.
Well, all of a sudden, there's Ben Moore, former skipper, former Richmond player. All of a sudden, they just look a bit better, a little bit more spark. Maybe they copped the real bake at half-time.
I think that you just hit the nail on the head there with a bit of spark. Like they're having a go, they're moving the ball quickly. But it's early in the quarter. I'm sure Centrals will be trying to quell that.
Umpire comes in and will pay a free kick over the shoulder to James Gowans. Good crowd in, the Bay supporters in numbers this afternoon. Sivanala got it from Gowans. Oh, I thought Shell was being held on to. No free kick. Thumped away by Sherwood's been good today. That's outstanding by Backwell. Got away to Logan. To Mitchell. Mitchell's kick is well weighted. And finds Kirkby. Kirkby's looked all right so far. Kirkby just unsure. Went to the pocket. Went for the young man in Ruwalt, who's kicked the goal. Why wouldn't you go for him? But Graham is pretty good. Sibanala steady. And finds Ware outer side.
Swatala running for Ware. And they've got a 2-on-1 in that situation. Mitchell will come across, but he's got a Sullivan inside. Swatala takes off, decides to go to half forward with a kick, and it was a beauty to Chris Gowans. Gowans now looks back inside. One-on-one contests everywhere, and he decides to go all the way to the square, and Justin Westhoff was the target. McCabe looked like he threw it out to Slade. Play on, Slade around the corner. O'Sullivan back into danger, takes a mark. And Sherwood manhandled by Chris Gowans. Decides to take the flop just in case. The umpire not fooled. Let's have another look. That was... Well, I thought that was a throw, but that was a brave mark by O'Sullivan.
Thanks, Chris.
Got one for his quarter. The former Werribee player comes in and drops it over the umpire's head for a goal.
Yeah, he's a class act, O'Sullivan. He's got plenty of run, good skills, and as you said there, Neil, he backed back into that pack and took a pretty courageous mark. So, again, that was another little crow throw, as you said there, Michael, earlier. But again, putting the backman under pressure by just getting to the head of the square. Didn't know if anyone was there, but O'Sullivan backed back and took a good grab.
David Mitchell's big work over summer has put him into the midfield now that he's trimmed up and lost a little bit of weight. He's picking up O'Sullivan. He's had Slade and also McKenzie today. Backwell's now gone to Swatala on the wing.
He could become a force in that midfield. Kirk. Bouncing ball. All players attack it. Wilson cleverly got the ball on boot. It'll fall on the lap of the man who kicked the goal a moment ago. O'Sullivan had a man inside in Gowans, decided to go down the line to Cowan, who will get a free kick and hold on to the mark. Cowan's paid a push to McCabe. McCabe's kick off the instep has been marked by that man Mark Soderstrom alluded to in David Mitchell, and he certainly has trimmed down, but he's lost none of his kicking power. Have a look at this. He'll spot a man from about 60. Just missed Hinge. Foot race between Hinge and Ware. Ware kept his feet. That was the difference. Good play, Elijah Ware spots up Daniel Shell right on 50. He could get the distance, but his kicking's a bit wayward. He's looking to give it off, as you can see. He may not have any option. He's got Schooler in the centre, and Schooler might run to 50. Schooler gets a lead from O'Sullivan, and poor checking by Glenelg, and O'Sullivan can line up for his second goal of the match and his second goal of this term. Loose checking, Chiggy.
Very, very loose there, and it's just, you know, unforgivable, especially at this stage of the game. Glenelg can't let Centrals get 2 or 3 quick goals here. They need to peg them back.
Particularly when the game had stopped, as O'Sullivan splits the middle with a lovely kick. Oh, the Dogs are out to 22 points, and I think that's the highest margin in the game so far. I think 17 was the highest at half-time. It's now 22 points.
Yeah, Shell there, went inside, and a good leg by Schooler, but O'Sullivan was a fair way on his own as well. Bay players and Tom Logan just zoning off there. Just put it on the right side of O'Sullivan, and it was a pretty easy mark in the end.
So crucial time in this match. The Tigers, although they haven't lost a first quarter this season, they've only won 2 of their 10 starts with third quarters. So the acid test on them. Mitchell, just the soccer kick. Now Logan got one high from O'Sullivan. He'll take a free kick. And surprise, surprise, Chris Gowans not impressed. Hand pass out to Backwell. Backwell from the centre square. Awkward, or rather floating mobile kick. Wilson did well, then couldn't handle it. Now Thomas. Wilson was held on to, free kick. He's got James, or Chris Gowans, I should say, short on this side of the ground, and he wants to square it. You can see that. He's not even looking down this side of the ground. So he goes long as Swatala's found a bit of space. Now they'll attack down the outer side. James Gowans, ball over the back. Ware opposed to Moore. Moore did very well, shook 2 tacklers. Now he goes up towards the forward 50. And the Bays have a couple of players on this side of the ground. Wilson opposed to them back and takes a great mark. Horan was coming in quickly. And Wilson's delivery now to Chris Gowans. Couldn't quite get there. Ruwald across with the punch. Maybe that'll lift the Bays.
It's the second one Rewald's done like that. He did one in the second quarter as well. Yep. He's just got that little yard of pace where he can get there.
Nice bit of closing speed, Mark Ruwald. He may be on the end of this one too. Ruwald sets it up. It's a poor kick. And did it go out of bounds on the full? No, it stayed in, or the goal umpire's made that call that it's gone out of bounds on the full or out of bounds? Out of bounds, by the way.
Top ball getters in the first half. Glenelg, Luke Pinozzo had 15, Brett Backwell and Tom Logan each 14 for the Dogs. Paul Thomas and James Gowans with 17, and Adam Swatala 15.
Ruckman doing battle. Allen ducked the head, caught one. Did he have prior opportunity? Ball caught underneath. Surely the umpire won't do it. Umpire Ralston says, give it to me. Anxious looking Glenelg coaching box. Smith doing the ruck work, and a free kick will go to Backwell for being held onto without the football, as James, in fact, Chris Gowans agrees with the umpire's decision. Not. And Backwell, who's kicked a couple of goals, he averages 26 possessions. He's been handy for them, but probably needs to lift his work rate. They'd love a goal here, bring it back to 16 points. Backwell's kick is a good one. That's a lovely kick. Goal number 3 to Brett Backwell. But they're getting their goals from reasonable long range.
Yeah, Backwell's worked hard. Again, he's in the bottom of the packs there. A little bit high, obviously there. Probably not a lot in it, but certainly Glenelg will take it at the moment. Finish off, that was an important kick though from there. Glenelg certainly needed to get that one just to keep them in touch in this third quarter.
Central's kicking 4 goals, 2 in the second quarter to just a point. So the Bays have certainly lifted, no doubt about that. Thomas kept his head down. Umpire on the blind side came in and called that was too high. So Thomas will take the free kick out of the centre square. Well, maybe Kirk just got him on the way through.
A little bit of ducking going on, I think, too. So,
Thomas drops it in short. Schooler can play on. Nobody in front of him as he drives from 70 metres long and high. Westhoff's in the middle of the pack. Cowan was there, so was Shell. Gowans with the rove. Goes back eventually to McCabe. McCabe's shot on goal is a minor score.
Yeah, Glenelg just got to be a little bit aware. They were just zoning off there again, and the Central's players had just that bit of time to have a shot on goal.
6 goals, 3 this year to Luke McCabe. Handy player for them, more than handy. McConnell told by the umpire to hurry it up from fullback.
Michael, just an update on the fitness of Ryan Willits. He's still down in the change rooms receiving some physio. In fact, they're working rampantly down there on his right knee. He did get a knock on it, and they're just hoping that he will still come back on. So fingers are crossed for Glenelg that we do see him again today.
Thanks, Mark, for that injury update. Ryan Willits. Another tall they've lost at the moment. Panozzo gives it back to McConnell. Will run to the outer side, but Daniel Shell is chasing hard. And that forces the McConnell kick, which is, well, you'd have to say, fairly ordinary. They may be hoping for touch, but they decided to go that way. Quentin Graham just pushes off. Graham to the pocket. Shell is there and flies in the middle of the pack. Can't take the mark. Roving done by Slade. Westhoff spins. Did he get it too high? Moore was the tackler. James Gowans crashes through. Umpire threw away the whistle. A couple of free kicks there. Good umpiring though. A good physical contest. Ball up. 13.5 gone. Let's go to Sodas.
And Ryan Willits is just resurfacing from the change rooms now. You can see him there. The right knee's very red. He's just had a lot of intensive physio on there, but it doesn't look like he's moving well, so chances probably are slim that the Tigers will see him back.
Elijah Ware, meanwhile, a loose kick came his way, and his kick wasn't loose, was it? Justin Westhoff on the receiving end, and we know, and we're about to put the mockers on him, that he just doesn't miss too often, does he?
No, he's a great leg, and you'd imagine he'll go back and put this one away.
Kicking from perhaps 30 metres, plays back, kicks a goal. Even when he kicks badly, it still seems to go straight.
He's been very impressive since he's come on. He's given them a real target. Hinges on him. There's a fair height difference there, and Hinge is certainly having some problems with him. There's no doubt about that. And again, quick movement, putting the backman under pressure, but Hinge was still, you know, 5 yards away or 5 metres away from him. So finished off with a good kick. So that's 19-2 for the year. It's not a bad return.
James Gowans just coming off the ground, and if you were watching ABC football last week, you remember he got crunched by Tim Luby. He had a sore neck. He also had a couple of shots in the toe as painkillers on his big toe on his left foot, and he seems a little bit proppy at the moment, so perhaps the local anaesthetic just wearing off now.
Backwell tries to get away with the football, and it's got to come back to Kirk with a free kick. Watch James Gowans in the warm-up, and he looked a bit proppy even in the warm-up, so not totally 100% fit.
He's the busiest player on the ground. He's had 12 kicks and 9 handballs.
A lot of courage to get out there and play with injury. A lot of players do play with injury. I guess, Nick, not too many blokes running around playing 100% fit.
Not at this time of year, and especially leading in the second half of the year. A lot of players will be carrying niggling injuries, and that's depends, shows who's a good player, because you've got to be able to play with injuries.
Well, free kick will go to Smith against big buckets. McKenzie, Jason McKenzie, who sees the lighter side of it. That he can still has a sense of humour after that.
I've seen a lot of Smith today, but this is a pretty important kick.
He's a player that competes pretty hard and just hasn't been on his best game today, but Smith is one of those tall players they really need to step up in the second half of this game. Smith booted 8 goals 2 for the season. He got 1 behind so far. The kick is less than average for a behind, and they just need to kick them from 45.
Especially when you're a key forward, and his confidence does look like it's down a bit. Hasn't had a lot of the footy, I would imagine, and yeah, it would have certainly helped him and the team.
Centrals decide to go long, and it goes straight to Kirk. Oh, he drops it awfully over the top. Ruckman kicking off their back foot, not a very good idea, really. And McKenzie, his direct opponent, takes the mark, spreads it wide to the flank, looking for Cowan in the middle of the pack, brings it down. Wilson gliding onto the ball, and he gives it to Shell. And after 40 fumbles, he's told that that is a mark, and he'll go back and have a shot at goal. He could go to Westhoff, as you saw, cruising past there in the left forward pocket. And maybe with Daniel Shell's record, he might like to give it to young Westhoff, because it wouldn't matter the angle. I think Justin Westhoff would probably kick it.
Shell's 4th mark today, but his first one inside 50.
From that position, he starts it in the middle, and it goes straight over the umpire's head.
And I reckon that's probably why he wasn't going to give it off. He hasn't had a lot of opportunities today. Been pretty well held by Sherwood and then Kirk for a while. But certainly been a very good player through today is Wilson, especially in the second and third quarters. And that was just a great delivery. And Shell, as you can see, juggled it, but went back and hasn't been kicking brilliantly this year. I think he's about 19-19 up until then, so he's 20-19 now. So it's a good finish.
Ryan Willits, his day officially over by the looks of things. Just scrapping it and just sort of trying to prop it up there. Newells, the skipper of Glenelg, kicks to Allen, right on the wing. Couple on short. He's looking for something in the pocket. He goes to Smith, who's got a couple to beat over the back. One for the runners, and Slade's one of the quickest in the competition. The kick needs to be precise, but that is what Matthew Slade's all about, precision. Graham just hoiks it long, had a couple of options there. One of them was Hayes, cruising past is Wilson, who's getting better as the game goes on. Too far for Cowan, flicks over the back. Kirk needs to do the roving, throw it back in. 18.5 gone. Roy Laird, got to be happy with the way the Dogs are cruising at the moment. Boundary throw in. Cranston got it down nicely. Sharked by O'Sullivan. He's caught by Panozzo. Free kick surely to Stuart Cochrane off the ball. Not paid. Hinge. No, he's been held on for a fortnight. Hinge just got rid of it. Allen, Logan, Kirk. Bay's out of trouble. Next kick is always a worry. Swatala slipped. Allowed block to come in. Back to Logan. Logan spears the kick. And that's a lovely mark by the young boy from Sacred Heart. We still haven't spoken about that, Chiggy. We'll get to it next week as Sugars kicks inside 50, but 3 against 1. Smith taken to ground by Hayes. Excellent tackle. Ball jars loose out of bounds. There's a few Sacred Heart boys running around out there, Nick, isn't there?
Well, the club overall over many years has been done very well out of Sacred Heart. I don't know how many are out there currently at the moment, but certainly Sugars is looking pretty good at the moment.
Just one of the Gowans boys. It's Chris that's on the ground now. I think he's coming off. Seems to have damaged his shoulder, so we might keep an eye on that. Rogers kept it in by throwing it in. Umpire said it was actually out.
Oh dear, oh dear. It didn't disguise it too well. There's Chris Gowans, and I think James Gowans was the one with the problem with the shoulder last week, and now James has just sort of hobbled on, so does.
He has. It's referred pain through the twins. They've got some sort of connection there, but James has come back on for Chris. He's going to be looked at now. Same spot too. James was crunched on the left shoulder and the neck, and Chris looks like he's got the exact same area, so there must be something in that twin thing.
McKenzie tried to pull it out of the ruck. Smith did pull it out of the ruck. Gave it back to Backwell. Backwell around the corner, gets it up in front of goal. Curry going back bravely, and Rogers appealed for the holding decision. It wasn't there, or at least the umpire didn't think so. Stuart Cochrane down the outer side, lots of space to run in. Over the top, Sibanela towards centre wing, decides to go long to half forward. Not the greatest of kicks. Kirk intercepted it for the Bays. He'll want to square it and bring it this side of the ground. O'Connell, hadn't seen much of him for some time, McConnell. His hand pass, well, it was average to say the least. He got away with it. It's still play on. The Bays still have control. They'll come to this side of the ground and Ruwalt. Ruwalt pursued by Shell, who chased him down. Umpire will call, holding the ball. That's inspirational stuff from your forwards to chase out like that. Daniel Shell. It's just a matter, Daniel, of picking up the ball. Look at this. Ruwalt knew he was in trouble, couldn't get away. And then the ball, unfortunately, under him. And Daniel Shell just telling him, how much did I enjoy that? Socks down, Shell drives it up long. Cowan will be the target. They all fly to the back. Kirk does the roving. Long hand pass. Awkward hand pass. Kirkby, though, gathered it well. Went back to McConnell. He fumbles towards the boundary. Now he pokes a little kick that won't be 15, surely. It's paid as a mark, though. And Logan will go back.
Elijah Ware pointed it out too. And there's a 25-metre penalty for a bit of yap.
Further than the kick.
I think if you add how much it went high and long, you'd probably just get the 15.
There's a very unhappy man.
Chris Gowns. Good way there, actually.
No, they've copped a fair bit, the Twins, this year. Pinozzo, springboard from half-back, looks for Mitchell, who's been pushed forward. Over the back goes Sullivan with the glove. Over the top, Graham. Swatala gave a good shepherd, just got in the way. Graham, well, ran a long way. How long did he run? Neil Cross is pointing it out. I think he's run out of fingers. Over to Slade. Slade on the wing, out of side. Oh, just dumped as he kicked it. It was legitimate. Ware just flew too early. No free kick to McConnell. Got a call from Cranston over the top. Cranston's got to give it off. Logan, this is where they'll come unstuck. Thomas, good tackle McConnell. Jars loose to Ware. Ware, can he work a miracle? Ware's kick to Cowan. Oh, they're just too good, the Dogs. Even when they're playing bad, they're playing better than the Bays at the moment, who just can't take a trick.
Certainly controlling the game. Now, the danger now for Glenelg is this could end up being a blowout if they don't really start lifting their work rate and starting to control the footy and get their skill level up a bit.
The change down there in the boundary. Go to Mark in a moment, but we'll stick with Luke Cowan, who should kick this from about 15 metres out and does so. Luke Cowan, his second of the afternoon.
Good vision by Elijah Ware there again. Could have had a ping from himself there in front and travelling pretty well at the moment. Again, Glenelg just sort of playing around with it, trying to be finessing a little bit too much. We're about to throw it on the boot, lifted the vision, and there it is. Beautiful pass, make the goal. No doubt about the goal from that situation there. Cowan goes back and kicks it.
Lee Westhoff coming onto the ground. He's on the near wing here. He's being picked up by Luke Pinozzo. He's replaced Vice-Captain Thomas. He's actually acting captain at the moment because, of course, Nathan Steinberner is out with a calf injury and should be back in the tricolours next week.
Bays need a lift across half forward, which segues beautifully to tell you that we're talking to one of the club legends at three-quarter time, Stephen Kernahan, a great centre half forward through 136 games at Brighton Road before he went on to a reasonable career in the AFL as well. Now they've got it inside half forward. They just can't get clean possession trick. Chiggy.
No, I think Kerner's would look all right sitting at centre half forward today too. He'd certainly give him a good target.
Kerner's is 40 now though, isn't he? Up forward, they still manage to get it forward. Mules should kick a goal, and I think he has. Nice little snap from the captain.
Well, captain's goal, certainly needed that one. You know, if they can pull another one back before three-quarter time, it gives them an option. But again, body going in there, hard tile, and that was there. Players running, Mulesy just chips it over the top for a nice goal. But, very much needed goal for Glenelg, and you'd say they certainly need the next one or two.
What a wonderful segue talking about captains, and Kernahan was one of the best in the business, Carlton Footy Club. And Ben Mules bobs up and kicks a goal. Keeps them somewhere thereabouts. 28 points the difference. Schooler knocked it down, but sharked by McConnell. McConnell's kick, looking for and not finding Kirkby. Allen is first to pounce. Now he can't get a handle. He's got a fit of the fumbles, Allen. And good pressure by Hayes worked him to the line. Just need to be cleaner. And he couldn't quite haul it in, Ty Allen.
Just lifted the eyes there a bit. It looked like he was trying to get rid of it before he had it, but Central's getting it out of there now.
Cochran. McCabe. All taken to ground by Mules. Panozzo. Ball won't come out of there. We'll get a ball up.
Tell you what, Michael, speaking of captains, we've got a bit of football royalty with us today. Of course, Nick Chigwidden, Glenelg's longest-serving captain, and then, as you mentioned, Stevie Kernahan, he's Carlton's longest-serving captain.
Well, Chiggy's just put his crown down for a couple of moments. Legend here, taken by McConnell. McConnell's kick, it's a good one. The young man Sugars couldn't take the mark. Smith was there, Sugars back on the football. We know he can use it pretty well. He did his best to get it to Moore. Moore just fights through the pack. Allen got it clean that time. Mitchell, his spearing kick, looking for Backwell over the back, but Cochran did well. And so too did Graham. There is plenty of experience there. Ball not out of bounds yet. McCabe working very close to the line. It'll just trickle out now. But wasn't that work from Graham outstanding toward the line?
He's had a great day, Graham, I think, across the half back there, and certainly provided plenty of drive for Centrals, as well as stopping a lot of Glenelg's forward action.
28 points the margin. Central seemingly well in control. Here's Allen. Now McConnell couldn't get it through the traffic. Scrambly play. We've seen a lot of that today. And finally we get a ball up.
Significantly, the Bulldogs had 27 fewer possessions, but they're 28 points up.
It's down to efficiency, I suppose. I should say that Glenelg this season, 31 players they've used, which before this game, which is less than any other club. Obviously, I think Sugar's making debut today. That was deliberate out of bounds, surely? No. It was Backwell, hand passed it over the line.
I think he knew that as well. I think he knew he had the umpire on the wrong side.
Hayes badly needing a goal before three-quarter time. Smith came over the top. It was holding, and Schooler will take the free kick, and it was Logan running into goal on his left leg. It was all set up for him, saving except for the free kick. Sibonala loose on the far side of the ground. They go via Graham. Now they get to Sibonala. They can take off. A long way down the ground was Hayes, who ran hard. Running back well and knocking the ball away also was Ruwalt. Now he fights in there. Hayes comes again. That's a good contest. Now James Gowans slips out a hand pass. Mitchell, long kick down to half forward. Curry trapped it well. High and long. Kirk advantaged. Cowan will come late on Cranston. Now Kirk. Now they work it out the back. Mitchell with the slick hands. Ruwalt. They're off and running Logan. Logan, good kick for Smith. Advantage that should take it. Siren beats him, as does Sibonala, just taking his hands away in that contest. So Mark Micken and his Bays have it all ahead of them in the final quarter. And at three-quarter time, the scoreline reads Central District 12-7, 79, a 28-point lead over Glenelg, 7-9, 51.
You'd certainly say Central's controlled that quarter again there, Neil. They're certainly a lot cleaner with their skills and just running the footy, playing with a lot of confidence there. Wilson certainly coming into the game, and a few of their younger players as well.
Well, it's not quite the Bays of old, is it? But in their heyday, in the mid-80s we're talking about, they were a fantastic club and they had such an enormous array of talent available to them. Well, you might have noticed in that vision just a quick glimpse of a thin young man at that stage holding aloft the trophy, and that was Stephen Kernahan, and he was part of that victory in 1985, the Bays, the premiers of 1985. And Stephen joins us now, and Kerners, I guess it's a long time ago. What are your memories way back then?
Yeah, not quite as thin as then, but yeah, many years ago, 85, had a lot of good days down here, won a flag then, and terrific to be back here. We used to fill this place, about 20,000 every week in those days. But good to be back here. Suburban footy's going good. And in 1985, obviously, you went into that match, I guess, pretty much underdogs against the Roosters. And you certainly produced the goods on that day personally. What are your memories of that in terms of what you did on that day? Because it was your last game for the Bays. Well, I remember we were 5 goals down with 10 minutes to go before half-time. And you know, we're going ordinary. We'd had a couple of calamities in grand finals, and I remember winning 2 goals down, so we obviously kicked 7 goals quickly, and you know, after that we ended up winning by 10. So great days, and we're about due, and the boys came to the party.
I'm amazed you have memories of that, because David Wilde, I think, at one stage had a go at you, and vice versa at one stage, but certainly we're looking at the actual incident where he clipped you behind the ears, shall we say.
Well, he did. He had a couple of goes at it, and well, it all ended up okay. I tried to spoil it a couple of minutes later and missed the football, but I suppose you've got to take your chances when they come.
It's a lovely spoil there, Kerners. I think it's Chicky here, mate. I think you
Chicky,
made David Wilde famous there. We've got Glenelg's produced a few good Carlton champions, and yourself one of them. Do you think with your current position on the table over there might be a couple more going over at the end of the year?
Well, look, it'd be great to say. Look, Bryce Gibbs, Ross is a good mate of mine, played a lot of footy with his dad, and you know, they're over there in the under-18 championships this weekend, so I hope to have a good look at him, and I don't know where we're going to finish, mate, and whether he goes 1, 2, 3 or 4, but he's a great lad, and we've watched him grow up, and I remember years ago, you know, watching this kid at barbecues and at drinks with a few of the Glenelg boys, and saying, how good's this kid going, and look at Bryce Gibbs today, so it'll be great to have him, but I'm sure Mum and Dad would rather he stayed here, guys.
And Steve, just generally on the Bays, obviously not well performed just at the moment.
No, they're going all right halfway through the second quarter, and I think Centrals have hit their straps well. They've won their last 3, and they're obviously playing pretty good footy.
Well, stay with us, Stephen. We're going across to Mark Soderstrom now, and Soders, you can tell us what's been going on with the coaches.
Yes, well, I've been over here at the Central District's huddle. There has been a little bit of action amongst the supporters while we are over here. One of the Glenelg fans not happy with the Central District banner just on the outside of the huddle here. So it's on off the field as well as on the field. But over here at Central Districts, Roy Laird is pretty content with the way things are going. He just raised last week's performance to his players against Port Adelaide, how they finished the Magpies off, and he wants them to do the same thing here today. Chris Gowans has got what he reported as a stinger on his neck. Around 5 years ago, he suffered whiplash, and he said that every now and then it just gives him a few little concerns, and that's a bit of a problem for him at the moment now. And Steve, just looking at today's game, have the Bays got much chance to get back in there, do you think?
Well, they start off okay, guys. I don't know, the Central's going pretty well. It'll be hard for them to win from here, but let's hope they can. Let's hope they lift.
Steve, you noticed, or you mentioned rather about Bryce Gibbs. Is there a young centre-half forward that you've seen coming through the ranks? Because I guess more than anything, they're hard to find, and there's something that certainly the Bays need.
Well, they certainly are. I mean, big kids, everyone looks for them, and we've got one, Josh Kinner, we took at pick 4 last year, and he's going to be a gun. They're hard to find and pretty rare today. The game's changed a little bit, and every time we get a good big bloke, they're invaluable.
Well, thanks, Dix. How's your day been up in the cricket club, mate, with the members there? Are you certainly looking after them there, working for us?
No, it's been good. It's been pretty solid down here by the boundary. Some good comments coming. I've got a few old Glenelg mates up there, and it's good to be back at home.
I'm sure it is, Steve. I hope you enjoy the rest of the day, and maybe the Bays will come home with a wet sail. Who knows? Thanks for your company.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for that.
Stephen Kernahan, yes. What a legend. And this is a little bit of push and shove among the crowd at three-quarter time, and that's basically all it was until that gentleman came in and bravely pushed from behind. Yes, very interesting. Well, they're into it at the Bay. Let's see. I guess the crucial part is that they have to be in it on the field now.
Well, as we were saying earlier in that quarter, or the third quarter, we can't make this a blowout. Glenelg need to make sure that they really come back and fight hard. Just try to get a bit of control, a bit of confidence leading into next week.
Here's Michael Maney with the final quarter.
Can the Bays bridge the gap? It's around 5 goals. Cranston will need to do the job in the ruck. They nullify each other. Logan. It's the first possession of the quarter to Mules. Mules was wobbly old kick. Kirkby. He goes Allen. It flicks out the back. A bit more soccer work by Backwell. A free kick against Sugars for a push. It'll go to Curry. Well, they're inside 50. And that's where they need to pump it in long and get it down there quickly. They need to just about throw caution to the wind and just play on at all costs, Nick.
Absolutely. They've just got to play attacking football now and try to get their confidence back, get a few of the kicks hitting bodies, and then get a couple of easy goals out of it. Things can change pretty quickly.
And the risk you take there is the Dogs may just hurt you on the rebound, and they're pretty good at that. Curry to the outer side pocket. Cochran to Stewart. It's got Wilson in short. And then Wilson can go and run. His target may be Westhoff. He decides to chip it in short and finds Schooler, who was in some space for quite some time. Paul Schooler in between wing and half-back outer side. Short kick. Quick hands by O'Sullivan back to Wilson. Wilson's kick lets himself down. Not a good kick by Adrian Wilson. Hasn't made many mistakes today, Wilson, but that was one of them.
His usually skills are pretty good. He's playing pretty wide again. I think it's been Moore or Allen most of the time that have been on them, but he's been getting plenty of chances to use his skills.
Kirk. A lot of elevation in that kick and a big pack forming, and no one can get a fingernail on it. Westhoff. Wilson just overran it. Taken by Richard Cochran to James Gowans. Just knocked off the kick a bit. And out of bounds on the full. Well done by Allen just to nudge him off balance.
James Gowans there clearly suggesting it wasn't a nudge, it's more a push in the back, but he's not going to win that argument with the umpires. Surprisingly, they don't get many McGarry medal votes, the Gowans brothers. Ball down to half forward. Wilson, strong mark going back. Geez, a valuable addition to their side this year. They've lost a lot of premiership players, multiple premiership players, people like Heath Hopwood, who played against or played across half-back, and Wilson's been very impressive so far this season.
17 possessions today after just one in the first quarter.
Thanks, Moggy. O'Sullivan through the middle. Can take another bounce or kick. He decides to kick. Cowan beaten for the ball nicely by Kirk. The kick didn't really advantage him. It did Kirk. McConnell comes from behind, 2 grabs, drops it. Now bumped off the ball high. Slade has been told it's a free kick, and now it's 25 metres, and James Gowans was the man doing the yapping there. Well, he did put his head down over the ball.
He did. He'd be looking for a big kill to McConnell. He hasn't had a great day. He's made a few mistakes. So he'll be looking to try to find a bit of the footy, finish off the game well.
Best and fairest at North Ballarat last season, averaging 17 kicks a game, and he sprayed that one and up at the back. Rogers, a couple of little fumbles and through for the minus score. We'll credit that to McConnell.
It's the kick dying on him there. Roy Laird just
didn't look happy, did he?
Didn't look happy. His side's 27 points in front.
They've had plenty of opportunities this half. Glenelg inside 50 since half-time, been 19-11, and yet Central's outscored them 5-3.
And wouldn't Glenelg pay big dollars for a bloke who's as good as this fella in Paul Schooler? Good pack mark. Cochran taken to the line. Out of bounds. It'll be thrown back in. Panozzo hands it up. Mark?
I'm going to say Central Districts might have to pay some good dollars for a man like Schooler. Just 2 weeks before the season this year, he did have a job interview in New South Wales, and the club were resigned to the fact that he was probably going to go had he got the job, but he's come back for 1 more year, so could be the last year we see Paul Schooler playing for Central.
Bet you they're happy about that. Richie Cochran. That is a lovely kick out in front of Sibanala, who's got to just hold it back to Wilson. Wilson on the wing. Kicks down the line. James Gowans. No 25 against Mules. Gowans will use his left boot. Normally pretty good. Shell couldn't hold on, couldn't hold it. Well done, Sherwood. Just backed himself. Terrific play and a bounce. Thought about giving it off, but run into a brick wall. It was Stewie Cochran. I thought he got rid of it, but he's been pinged for holding on too long. Stuart Cochran. What do you reckon, Chiggy?
Well, it was a late call by the umpire. It was probably there. I don't think Sherwood saw the player to his right, but you'd have to say he's won his position today, Sherwood. Here he goes, straight into trouble. But he did get rid of it in the end.
He did. Cowan can't take the mark. Westhoff, quick hands. O'Sullivan. Oh, it's going to fall in the arms of Gowans. He just stands his ground. This is Chris. Oh, he wanted to play on. He wanted to just twinkle around and kick a goal pretty easily, but he's got to go back and have a shot. And Paul Sherwood, just after he was dumped, his head hit the ground, and he's had the staggers for a 30 or 40 seconds. And he'll compose himself, I'm sure. So too Chris Gowans, who just about put this game out of reach for the Bays, you would imagine. They're out by 33 points. And let's have a look at this one with Paul Sherwood as he hits the deck.
Yeah, just a bit of a sling tackle there, which is all part of the game. That was bang. You can just see the head hitting there. Obviously knocked Sherwood a bit. He got one earlier too from Shell, but got on the hip, so he hadn't had a great day with the in the head stakes, Paul Sherwood.
Well, he'd have a headache starting the day thinking, I've got to mind Daniel Shell, and two-time Ken Farmer medalist, and then he's done all right, but gets smacked in the head just to add to the migraine. Mark Micken, arms folded, plenty to think about.
Paul Sherwood's now gone up forward to have a little bit of a spell rather than have to get more of a headache chasing around Shell. He's going to go up forward, be picked up by Quentin Graham.
Slade might not see much of the ball. Sherwood up forward. Cowan couldn't trap it. Kirk being used at half back. Chris Gowans, I should say. Tried to square it up to James, who eventually, well, he just overran the ball. McCabe knocked it out. Now that was out, I thought, yes. Boundary umpire thought so. O'Sullivan just in the kicking action, taking the ball over the line. The camera's right on the job. So Kirkby will go against Cowan, who'll just try and thump it forward. He did. Kirk got it off to McConnell via his face. McConnell's kick into that hard surface in the middle of the ground. And rolling in there was Allen, missed the chest mark. And he's going to be made to pay. Here's Lee Westhoff down the outer side of the ground, long and high, and it's a goal. Great finish.
Certainly playing with plenty of confidence now. The Central Districts again. Wilson just floating. He reads the ball beautifully coming through that half-back line there. It's a fair leg from there.
He was laconic about how he did it, wasn't he?
Yeah, on the left foot too, so set it up beautifully. And that's a lovely finish from there. But when you're in front, things normally go right for you too. Make your own luck, though.
Team Westhoff are doing pretty well this year. 9 goals, 4 to Lee Westhoff. What is it, 18 goals something to Justin Westhoff, 19 goals 2. They're going exceptionally well. 39 points the difference at the Bay Oval. Sivanala finds the man of the moment, Lee Westhoff. Gets it across to Gowans. Short kick, spots up Cochrane. This is Richard. Runs to 50 and thumps it long to the goal square. Hoping for a mark from McCabe and block. Westhoff, Justin can't get it. O'Sullivan, quick hands. Gowans, Chris on the left. Bends it back. That's 45 points, the difference. And the Bulldogs, through Chris Gowans, who's got a couple of goals this afternoon, power away.
He's had a good game, Chris Gowans. Very rarely he has a bad one. But quick hands there again by O'Sullivan. Smart player Gowans, could have put it on the boot, but just sold the pup there. But I'm sure that here it is into that half part. Yeah, it gets pretty tough in there in the middle of the ground, pretty hard. A bit of rain this morning might have helped him. But then Wilson again reads the ball beautifully and sets up play once again.
Chris has had the quiet game today, just 16 possessions. James has had 25, but back to their normal goal scoring form. Chris 3 straight goals, James 3 straight behinds.
Thank you. Thank you. I did mention I thought Chris was a better goal kicker. Finally, one of Moggy's stats backs up what I say. Here's Thomas. Schooler. Oh, it might be party time. They're just taking the ball at will into their forward line. Chris Gowans off the left foot this time. Oh, great delivery. How would you be at full forward with that behind you?
Yeah, you can't do much there in that situation. Rogers, I think it was right on him. Shell certainly want to be kicking a couple in this last quarter just to try to make it a reasonable sort of day for him. Paul Sherwood at the other end of the ground is probably worked all day, and Shell might end up with 3 or 4 goals, which would be disappointing. But I can see Sherwood coming down now. Miss Sherwood in that way.
Yeah, just missing.
Rather staggeringly this quarter, Glenelg have had 8 possessions, Centrals have had 46.
Well, we're getting plenty of the ball. The bows, Cheeky. Crikey. That's amazing.
I'll be trying to work on their tackling this quarter.
Chiggy, you mightn't be happy with the way they're playing on the ground, but you will be happy as a board member here at the Bay to know that 3,256 people have popped in today to watch the game.
And that ball is just out of bounds. John Hinge doesn't like it too much. Bit of fire and brimstone from him. I think he needs about 20 mates to really start arcing up. Let's have a look at it. Yeah, well, he was out. So was the ball. Nothing to complain about there. Cranston got his way to the front. Back wall. Just a hurried kick out of the congestion. Quentin Graham. Paul Sherwood, he's gone right up the full forward. Has he gone back to the back line? I think he's composed himself and he's back on Daniel Shell. Well, yeah, would have had a headache going back on Quentin Graham too, but the sort of form that Quentin Graham's been in today.
He's had a great day.
Been magnificent. Mitchell, quick hands to Backwell. Backwell just kicks to a lead from Young Sugars. He's got a couple on him. And a couple of fair players, premiership players, and Sibanala and also Curry. But Sibanala's the man who breaks with the football and finds that man Wilson, who is really getting going at the moment. That kicks a worm burner. Shell just breaks through a couple. Lovely handball to O'Sullivan. He's got Chris Gowans cruising by. He may kick another one, Chris Gowans. He kicks on his left. McConnell gets in the gap and takes the mark. Umpire said play on. Somebody else must have got a finger on that. And it will be a ball up.
Bit of a tired leg there for Chris Gowans, you would think. I think he was probably trying to have a pick at goals, but didn't make the distance.
Kirk comes from behind and belts it through from behind.
Worked pretty hard, Kirk, today, but it'd be interesting to see that that Mark McConnell, if it was a Mark McConnell, he certainly had first grab at it.
Yeah, but I think Elijah Ware might have got a hand on the way through.
Take your word on that, mate.
Thanks, mate.
The line-up again, another shot for a Gowans here. This time turning around James. Chris will be lurking in the centre. He is, in fact, lurking in the corridor, but lurking with intent. James, meanwhile, looks up, decides, can I make this distance? Oh, I'll have a crack. Why not? His record today, 0-3. So he's just taking his time. We're waiting for the kick. Come on, James. Finally, from 40 metres, starts it left, stays left, might not even make the distance. It's off hands and through for the minor score. And you saw that reaction from James. It was all the shoulders' fault.
Yeah,
it was just a bit of a pain there.
Whereas he walked back to kick it, I saw him grab his shoulder as well. So obviously pretty sore there, but a couple of tired boys, the Gowans boys.
They've used their bodies as battering rams for a number of seasons now and are starting to show. Ware just pickpockets the footy to O'Sullivan, who ran into a problem. And that was Panozzo. Ball clean bowls a couple. Shell gets one high. Lucky. Man on his own is Westhoff. This is Justin Westhoff. Impeded. He'll get a free for shepherding. Umpire thought about paying the advantage rule, but Justin Westhoff, well, you'd want it in his hands if you wanted to go, let's have a look, 54 points in front.
Yeah, you'd certainly want him to have a kick. He's not going to miss it, you wouldn't think, from here. But that was I suppose you could see Shell putting it up because Westhoff, a tall man, was probably there. Benny Moore was in a bit of strife. He had to try something.
I think that was benefit of the doubt. Daniel Shell got under that and said, here, draw a crowd, Justin.
Boys in tape don't have to worry at all about a behind because it'll be the first one in goodness knows how long. But Westhoff's got goal number 3. And his target, he's up to 20. 20 goals too this year.
Puts it up, gives it plenty of air for Westhoff to have a jump at. Benny Moore, only a small player, just thought that was the best option, I think, running into him. But Steve Kernan talking about, talent of big men. Well, Westhoff's certainly one of those. He's obviously pretty slight at the moment, but once he bulks up a bit, you can imagine he's going to attract a bit of attention.
Yes, indeed. And when he attracts a bit of attention, you can imagine he won't play much SANFL footy unless one of the 2 AFL clubs in South Australia signs him up. They work the ball in close again. The Gowans boys, Chris this time fumbles. Kirk gets it down to half forward. Wilson was brave going back, didn't need to be. Coming the other way was Hayes. Now Sibanala trapped in there, and we'll get a ball up, will we? great tackle by Allen it was, who threw him to the ground. The umpire lets it go on, and finally at centre wing, we will get a ball up.
Nah, no problem there. Thanks.
Time to remind you that when these sides last met at the Adelaide Oval, and it was 95 points the margin.
Well, let's have a look at that, Neil. Symes, Officer, Obst, Francis, Norsworthy and Brooks, 6 players out of that side. And for Glenelg, Fisher, Burdett, Douglas, Sunfist and Duldig. So similar amount of changes for both sides, and 54 points the difference.
Centrals did a similar thing last year, though, didn't they? They had a very slow start to the season and then came good around mid-year and had a great year. So looking pretty ominous, Centrals at the moment.
They've won their last 3 matches in a row. They've beat Port Adelaide, Sturt and Norwood. And they've won those matches reasonably comfortably too. Chris Gowan's got a real problem with that shoulder, clearly. Got another belt then.
I wonder why you'd leave them on unless you're really short on the bench. You might as well rest them. They certainly, you'd say, they've got the game won.
Spot on, Chiggy. One of the boys has come off anyway. James has come off, and he's just about to take the jumper off as well, so I think his game is over. He, of course, has that shoulder and neck problem from last week, and also the big toe, which he had stepped on against Sturt a few weeks ago, giving him some problems again.
Wonderful kick by Mitchell to Rogers. Nobody in the goal square. No one pushing forward for Glenelg. They must be pretty confident that Rogers can make the distance here. Nobody back with Schooler. No ruckman, no talls going down to compete if the ball just drops in the square. But Rogers, let's have a look, hasn't booted one. He kicked 5 against them last time. The Adelaide Oval. Kick's not going to make the distance, and who takes the mark?
Well, you would have thought he's never going to make the distance from there. Late in the game, he missed first quarter, didn't make the distance from 50. So just inexcusable that big fellas didn't get back to compete against Schooler.
Lovely mark by Schooler, Cochrane, and it ends up with O'Sullivan. As they just have a bit of a training drill through the middle, and Sivanala, as easy as you like, kicks it forward. Hinge will take the mark for Glenelg. Ill-directed kick. They haven't had too many of them today. Plenty of numbers on the grandstand side of the ground as Sherwood drills the pass to Backwell, who's got a bit of space and can run. In short, he's got Smith. Smith looks forward. Kirkby is probably the answer. Here comes Kirkby. He flies and takes it. Well, you get it in there quickly. You give your forwards an opportunity to have a run and try and take a catch.
And yeah, exactly. And that's Smith did that. Gave him a chance to have a run and jump at it. And 35-40, dead in front. And certainly hope that he'd get this one for Glenelg.
Sivanala off mark, just quickly.
Yes, he's been solid as usual again today. He's having a bit of a break. He's pretty happy with the way things are going on McKenzie.
And Kirkby just lays back and kicks their first goal of the term, and their first goal, I think, since the 24.5-minute mark of the third quarter.
Backwell's worked hard all day. He's found a fair bit of the footy and just got it forward. Smith getting it in long there. Kirkby, I've been pretty impressed with that forward, with probably limited opportunities and some good delivery there. But when he's got it, he's looked like a class act and slotted in pretty well across that half-forward line.
Brett Backwell's had 24 possessions for the Bays today, but Tom Logan's the leading ball getter for them. 11 kicks, 17 handballs, and has used it pretty well, apart from one exception.
Yeah, Backwell, you fancy he might get some McGarry medal votes this season. He won the VFL's Liston Trophy in 2001, so he knows how to attract the umpire's attention. And with those boots that he's got on, the garish, greeny, yellowy, glowing boots, he might get the odd vote or two. Hayes, McKenzie, running for him, Schooler. That's where he goes, drops it into Schooler, who drops it. Now Schooler over the top, running into some space with Swatala. He's quickly closed down, got the hand pass off to Cowan. They just have numbers and support from behind. Thomas looks up, decides to square it and give Shell an opportunity, and Shell doesn't let him down. Disciplined, running, positioning, perfect.
Yeah, it was great play there by Centrals. Again, going to the head of the square. Shell's always a good mark. Put it to him, used his body well. Sherwood just got lost there, which was understandable how quick the ball came in.
Shell, clinical finish, and that was clinical football from the Dogs. Yeah, just now very much cruising, aren't they?
They are, just that quick movement. That's Shell's second, so you wouldn't say it's his greatest day, but he still gives them a great target. Thomas, very disciplined going to the head of the square again. When you've got a big man like that there with his height, take a good grab, why not? So certainly starting to cruise pretty well, Centrals at the moment.
Daniel Shell always contributes even if he doesn't score goals. There's 7 marks and 14 possessions.
Chris Gowns wanting to come off the ground, and I think he's been given the nod, or is he going?
I don't know if he wants to. I think he's been asked. Probably not going to come. No, Chris Gowns.
McKenzie to Cochrane, over the top to the big man. He's linking up. Scorer, he's running through the midfield, linking up. Thomas can't take the mark, but Kirk can. Kirk short kick finds Allen, who probably just hasn't done enough. He's about to get nabbed. Good chase by Thomas late in the game. Logan short kick to Moore. Moore wants to pump it in long. He does. All Bulldogs there. Up goes. Couldn't see who got the arms on that. Taken by Curry. Cochrane. This is Richard Cochrane. And done by Swatala. Finds McCabe. McCabe running for him is Wilson in a bit of space on the outer side. Wilson short kick, spots up Chris Gowans. He's got Hayes. Hayes can look for a target. That target will be Shell. On the lead, you won't get him. If you put it out in front of this man on a lead, you won't get him. Sherwood's been good in able to body him out of the contest. He doesn't fare so well there, but on a lead, he is dangerous. And he'll get the distance from here, I would think. Not much breeze to contend with. He gives it a ride. And it's just away. Westhoff kept it in. Hinge can't grab it. Ball very close to the line and forced through for a rush behind. 22 minutes gone. And 58 plays 113. Roy would be happy. Even though he doesn't look happy, he'd be happy.
He looks unhappy at Mark Micken there, but yeah, Sherwood's done pretty well there, as you said, but Shell has got that pretty quick first 5 and he's hard to stop on the lead.
It's very much a struggle for the Bays at the moment, even to get it ahead of centre. They are pinned down, 55 points down.
Central down to 1 fit man on the bench, Matty Slade having a breakdown there. Cowan's come off the ground like he did late last week too with his shoulder problem. And of course, James Gowan's in a fair bit of trouble there. So 1 fit man, and Chiggy's the time to bring 4 onto the bench.
Well, you probably Glenelg need about 10 on the bench at the moment, mate, today. So
they could drag 10. Here they work it again to McCabe. Then he gives it off to Stewie Cochrane. Oh, magnificent kick around the corner. He's got it up to the goal face. He got a goal. No, he didn't. Oh, I thought that ball had bounced through everybody's hands and through for a goal.
I don't know who touched him in the end, but
have a look at this. We'll have another look.
It's a fair snap.
I don't think anyone did. Jeez. They're pretty inconclusive. The 25-metre penalty. Back well to the run of block. Oh, how good's that? How good is that?
Sign him up, let's face it. This kid's going to
sign him
up, surely.
I think Sticks Kernahan might like what he looks at this afternoon in Westhoff. That may be centre-half forward option in the future for the Blues. Chris Gowans out to Shell. Over the back, Ware with toe. Gets it away to Swatala. Swatala from 45. It's clinical for the Dogs.
That's been his 4th. He had a fantastic first half. Died off a little bit, but he's had a great day overall, you'd say, and been very impressive.
This is just terrific play. Where the presence of mind, no panic.
And always got a runner there at the moment, and that's what happens when you're playing good footy. They're getting a lot of the footy. They know if they run, they're going to get used. So it finishes off another good kick. He's had a great day.
Adam Swatala, 11 marks, 15 kicks, 6 handballs and 4 goals.
And it's just a great grab for a big man moving back. He's agile, kicks well. He's certainly going to be high in the draft, you know.
Well, a couple of measures of the Bays' improvement this season. Their attack is 106 a game, up 15 on last season, 15 points a game. And defensively, 90 points a game, down 14. But gee whiz, defensively and in attack, they've been taken apart this afternoon by the Dogs. You get some slight relief here with McConnell. Oh, he's under pressure. Sloppy disposal. And again, Sherwood belted into the ground. He'll enjoy that, I'm sure. Not as if he hasn't had it done to him 2 or 3 times this afternoon.
McConnell, it's just his decision-making. He finds the footy pretty well. He just got to make the right decision from time to time.
Elijah Ware off the ground for the minor score. Might be just interested in those forward 50 entries in this quarter.
Are you? Yep, it's 9-15 in favour of the Dogs.
Who had that last kick, Bobby? Can you tell me?
You saw it?
It was Backwell. Taken by Block. He kicks it long. Saunders is the target down there. They haven't got too many targets, but young Lee Saunders put his hand up and said, I'll be a target. Now, you're talking about how many on the bench. How would Sodas go? You played a year with Sodas down here at the Bay.
I did.
How would Sodas go on the bench?
Well, as long as it had mirrors there, he'd be fine.
Hey, watch it, Chick Whitten. I'll tell you, I'll be all right on the bench because you don't have to do anything as long as I didn't have to come on the ground.
Rogers got the kick into the pocket, and a free kick will go to Kirkby for being held on to. And Andrew Hayes has had plenty to say to the umpire. Kirkby will be advantaged by this as a left footer, but he doesn't want to do that. And Logan and Backwell, they both wanted a fair piece of it. Backwell did all right, goes back to Logan. Now Kirkby might think, I will need to kick this. O'Sullivan, well, it's just been a calamity of errors. The Bays can't take a trick. No talking between those two players. Ball flicks over the back. Mules wouldn't like what he's seen this afternoon. Mitchell, he'll kick. Behind. Well, that just sums it all up.
Certainly making hard work of it, that's for sure. Here, I suppose, positive, they're both going for the footy. But
you'll draw a positive out of
you're
anything.
trying to pull positives, but yeah, there should have been more voice here.
Talked about the 80s and the era here at Brighton Road. Graham Corns was the coach of those 2 premiership sides in 1985-86, and also the loss, I must add, in 1987. He's enjoying grassroots footy, the SANFL. Here's Moore, long kick. Schooler says thank you very much.
How many times has he done that?
He's taken 10 marks today and had 18 possessions.
He's looked good, hasn't he? He's really looked good against some reasonable opposition. I mean, Cranston's not a bad player, and Smith. Now Wilson just squares it to Ware. In fact, it's Hayes, I should say. Hayes over the top. Schooler's run to the other side of the ground. He can do it all. Now he comes back through the middle looking for Graham. Graham, why not? Left foot, he says. I can do that. Westhoff, this is Lee Westhoff, down the outer side. Waiting for Shell to make his move. Not the greatest of kicks. Daniel Shell opposed to Sherwood, who's able to body the ball to ground. Shell farms it out of there. Chris Gowans looks to the centre, aims for Swatala. Punch comes. Now here's Elijah Ware, and there's a goal. Well, classic roving. Just around the front, bang, straight onto his chest, and away we go.
Front and centre, who's there, and obviously always going to be pretty dangerous if he gets a clean take at it like he did there. Just shuffled it out. So Chris, yeah, Chris Gowans just chipped it around, had good vision again. A couple of Glenelg players, but no one front and centre with Elijah Ware, and that's it's danger. And he finished it off well. He's a class act. He's always going when he gets a clean take like that.
Elijah Ware, 14 kicks and 4 handballs today. Possession count this quarter, 111-45.
What an amazing turnaround from round 3 it is. Thumped by 95 points, the Bulldogs. They lead by 68. Moore goes forward. Backwell fighting hard. He's tried hard all day. Backwell. Smith taken the ground by big Mackenzie. And a ball up. Game in the dying stages. 127 plays 59. Not too many smiles coming from that box.
They'd be very disappointed. Like, they'd set themselves for this game, no doubt about that, because it is a big one to who makes the 5, I think. And Centrals have just really shown their way ahead at the moment at Glenelg.
Well, the Dogs have won 6 of the last 7 at the Bay, so they love playing here and coming here. Up goes Gowans. Mules floated across the top and knocked it to the line. Boundary throw in, about to tick into 30 minutes. Quarters have been pretty short this afternoon, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 8 goals in this quarter by the Bulldogs. They really have put the foot down and buried Glenelg on their home turf as well. Be a shattering blow to their aspirations for a finals berth. Up goes Kirk. Well, the handball over the top was risky. Panozzo, that risky to Horan, who hasn't had much of it. Sherwood, who's been pretty good down back. Logan got it back to Horan, who kept running. Didn't have anyone to kick to. And Richard Cochran takes the diving mark. Mackenzie to the man in the midfield who's done a lot of linking up this afternoon. Another mark, his 12th. Schooler. And how fitting that Schooler has the last kick of the game. Outstanding game by him. Luke McCabe, not as outstanding. Chris Gowns, terrific. What a win by the Bulldogs by 68 points. 19-13, 127. Glenelg 8.11.59. Elijah Ware, a terrific player also for the Dogs.
Well, we thought it could turn into a bit of a blowout there because Centrals did look pretty dominant for, you know, after quarter time, really, and that's certainly what happened. They were pretty impressive, Centrals, I thought, right across the ground, and Schooler there was a fantastic, fantastic big man on there. Westhoff, as we've mentioned throughout the call, he was very impressive up forward.
Yes, now they've won 15 of their past 17 against Glenelg Centrals, and of course they're building all the time. That's 4 wins in a row, and you just get a sense, well, we thought, again, we didn't exactly write them off, but we thought they were off the pace slightly at the start of the year, especially when they were belted in round 3 by the Bays by 95 points, but haven't they shown that they'll be around the mark again?
Well, they have. They've had a few retirements, as we mentioned, from last year and from that great team that's been dominant for so long. But then you bring in people like Wilson and Westhoff and these guys, and they certainly slot in and look very comfortable in that team.
Yes, valuable additions. Joseph McKenzie still doing very well. And Paul Thomas, speaking of additions, it's nice to have him back after 8 games with Essendon in the AFL. Talking there briefly with Brett Backwell. They were teammates in the stateside this season that beat the WAFL. And we'll be just about go down to Sodas, and I think he's managed to get both the Gowans twins together.
I do have both of them at once. Now, you guys are causing a bit of trouble out there on the ground. Chris, you today had the kicking boot on.
Yeah, it was good this week, kick straight, but they're all from 3 metres out, so it wasn't too hard. I reckon I'm still a bit jumpy out from 20 out, even a bit further, but no, good to take and play on, so get the confidence up.
James, what about your kicking?
Oh, shocking today.
You were going to say something else then, weren't you?
I was. What do you say? One week you play me chocolates, the next week it's dog poo? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Believe it or not, I've got a sore foot, I think, so that's what I'll take.
Yeah, how is the foot? Of course, that was against Sturt. You've got the big black toe going there, and also you got belted by Luby last week. How are you holding up? I'm getting old, that's all I'll say. I feel like an old man. I feel like a truck hits me. I haven't trained all week, but I don't know. We'll see how you go this week. Feeling better but getting old. And a bit of referred pain because you've been holding your neck as well today.
Yeah, I think sympathy. I think whatever he gets, it must be that, yeah, whatever he feels, I must get it. But I've never put my body and copped a hard hit in my life, so I don't know how I've done it, but it's a little bit sore. We'll have a look at it and come good, though.
Now, importantly, the boys seem to be back on track after a bad loss to South Adelaide, 5 weeks ago? Yeah, look, it's good to get a string of few together. I think we won 6 straight now, so it's us and the Eagles pretty much the form sides, and we just got to keep winning because the teams above us are still winning, so we really want a top 3 spot, and yeah, we'll keep going. Are the Bulldogs back? Bulldogs are back. Good work, boys. See you later.
Gowans boys declaring that they've got some sore bodies, but they are back, so that's a magnificent result, certainly, for them to walk off the Bay Oval and with a 68-point win behind them.
Well, they certainly had something to prove after that round 1 clash where they went down by 95 points, I think it was, and they came out, and there's no doubt that would have been in the back of their mind all day. They would have wanted to get them back on Glenelg.
Well, certainly the Tigers, as has been their form this season, they started well. They led by 8 points at quarter time, and it was 17 points at the half. And then in the third quarter, the game started to open up with Centrals by 28 points, and of course, they just careered away from there.
They certainly did. Losing Willits didn't help Glenelg at all either, I don't think, but even if he was on, he wasn't going to make that much difference. Swiltala, as we've said, had a fantastic game, kicking 4 goals. Chris Gowans, Westhoff, you know, that you could go through the whole team. They were all pretty dominant over the whole ground. Look, Sherwood, I thought, did a good job on Shell for most of the day, considering he had so many options, or so many opportunities. And Backwell worked really hard for Glenelg, finishing off with 3 goals.
I think you could say the hunger's still there as we look through those match stats. And clearly the Dogs, in the end, just able to rack up those possessions.
They certainly were. Like, it was a bit like a training drill in the end, which was disappointing from Glenelg's half. Centre breaks, and that you can see Glenelg won it out of the centre a lot, which was quite interesting, with the Schooler being quite dominant around the ground. But Central certainly used the footy a lot more and got inside 50 and were a lot more dangerous when they did get inside 50. I think Glenelg were just a little bit careless with their kicking.
Well, the boys just about to voice their happiness at a win.
Central's where the mighty fighting dogs. We love our club and we play to win. Riding the bumps with the grit at Central's. Come on, mate, you'll find us striving. Teamwork is the thing to talk. 4, 3, 2, 1 for all and all for one. So where we play at Central's. We are the mighty fighting dogs.
And you can see, again, starting to build Centrals, no doubt about that. They were slow off the mark against the Bays, who, as we said, have a reputation for being fast off the mark. But gee whiz, they just showed all their class, and they showed that the depth is there that could take them to yet another premiership.
Well, they've got got class all over the ground. They've got good runners. Swatala, as we've seen, got plenty of it. Then they've got a very strong forward line in Shell, Cowan and Westhoff. A very strong ground, played fantastic in back line. There's not too many places they didn't play well. Sometimes the opposition wasn't as strong today as probably normally is from Glenelg and that. But the Gowans boys, they very rarely let you down as well and add that hardness, which is fantastic.
Luke Cowan, he's been crucial. His comeback to the side, and crucial for the Bays this season has been Logan, although not so this afternoon, but that was a fair mark, wasn't it?
It was a great mark. He's been fantastic for Glenelg all year, and Glenelg have been pretty good, and not too often have had a whitewash like this, and it is disappointing, but certainly improving.
And that's the thing, they are improving, and the trouble is, can they improve enough to make the finals this year?
Well, certainly would be banking on that. It's pretty tight through that middle of the table. Central's sort of go clear a little bit more now, but you got Norwood, South Glenelg all sort of trying to get into that 5th spot. So yeah, they'd certainly be backing themselves. Got a tough week next week against North Adelaide, but have shown throughout the year already that they could get there.
You see Paul Thomas here. Look at this delivery, and Daniel Shell came into his own in the last quarter. Certainly, the taller players don't get any shorter.
No, they don't, and he had a lot of opportunities. They were certainly pumping the ball in there and without a lot of pressure, so it's pretty hard to hold a man of Shell's ability when the ball comes in that often.
And Swatala kicking that goal. He was very happy about it. We looked through those quarter-by-quarters again, and pretty much after quarter time it was one-way traffic, and we mentioned Adam Swatala enjoying that goal. Well, he's down in the rooms now with sodas.
Yes, he certainly is, Adam. We're just watching some of your great work in the highlights there. 4 goals today. It was a fantastic return from the wing.
Yeah, no, it wasn't too bad. I sort of get to 3 in the past and I've always stumbled. So to get actually the 4th one for the first time, yeah, it was good.
Pretty serious injury, round 2, a depressed cheekbone fracture. You've had 5 games back. You're certainly finding your way again.
Yeah, it was a bit of a interrupted because I had not a too bad a start to the year, and then broke the cheekbone and put a plate in, and so now back on and feel confident. So yeah, it's good.
And importantly, the club going along nicely.
Yeah, very well. Like I think we've won the last 5 out of 6 or 6 out of 7. So we're really just hitting our straps now. So.
Well, Adam, fantastic performance on your behalf and also for the club. Well done.
No worries, thanks.
Swatala with sodas, very happy. Central District looking ahead to next week. We can tell you that we will be at Prospect for the battle between North Adelaide and Glenelg, and we've mentioned a few things this afternoon about the 80s, and those clubs clashed in 3 grand finals in a row. And then Central's Westies, South against Sturt, Port against Norwood to round off the round. Thanks for your company this afternoon. Of course, there's still one match to come in the round tomorrow between South Adelaide and Port Adelaide. You can catch all those scores in ABC News at 7 o'clock. Thanks to Chiggy and all the boys from ABC. We'll see you next time.